imagine you get a humidor in here.
Yeah, that's what a big one would be so sick.
Or ventilator, so you just
yeah, a ventilator would also be needed.
Absolutely, just smoke cigars.
Maybe one day when we build a house, we'll do one. We'll get that. That way, like, build a little pod room in there.
Yeah, be like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, get a Joe Rogan room. That's what I want to.
Or Bill Simmons. Dude, his is awesome, man.
Yeah. I think Theo Vaughn does his, like, on top of his garage or something.
Most of them don't even, like, leave their house.
Yeah. See, I want it in a different... My thing that's, like, I don't like is that everyone has to come to your house. Like, I really wish we just had, like, a small little, like, place that, like, basically set up for it. Mm-hmm. Like, if we had, like, a place in, like, Cherrydale or, like, outside downtown Greenville, it was just, like, this small, like, little mill house. Yeah. You know? I would be like, that'd be sick.
Yeah, because the only person I know, or maybe there's probably many who have, like, podcasts in their houses, but, like, there's some, like, Rogan does not do a podcast in his house. Like, he has a warehouse, basically, of, like, for his, like, Joe Rogan experience. I'm like, because he's not going to tell you where he lives.
No, but he also has, like, a gym in there and stuff.
Yeah. So
it's, like, makes sense. Like, I would love if I get, like, a warehouse. Dude, if I could find a warehouse, that'd be so sick. So I'll put, like, a basketball court in there.
No, dude. Have you seen those Instagram videos of, like, people's, like, warehouses? It has, like, a basketball court and, like, a bar and then, like, a little place where they watch TV and then, like, you can just put a podcast studio there.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you gotta do is, like, corner off, like, one side of it with, like, drywall. And then have, like... Then you have a podcast room.
It would be like something you see on the Drake video.
Oh yeah, it'd be sick. I don't know when that'll ever happen.
Shit, man.
But I'll dream for it. Don't get me wrong.
Or you'll be, just imagine 40 years, you got kids running around, you got Lake House and Joe Cassie, you're about to go to Clemson football. Life would be great. You should podcast before then.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's what the ideal vision is. You get like, I'd love to have like a day job that I do and then do this at like nighttime. You get to come home and it's like, well, did that, you know?
Rip a podcast out.
Yeah, rip a podcast, you know, like 7, 8 o'clock at night, whenever. Get to have celebrity guests on.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'd be like, that's sick.
For fun.
Yeah, just for funsies. Just for like giggles, you know? It's like, nothing, you know, I don't really care about any of your anything you're running on, really. I'm just going to ask you, what do you feel about aliens?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
How do you feel about a rear triangle joke?
Dude, I know there's a couple UFC fighters who have really good ones.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not... Like, here's my thing. I know a lot about UFC, but I'm still getting into it a little bit, if that makes sense.
No, 100%.
It's like horror. I mean,
I think that is every UFC fan.
Oh, yeah. No, 1,000%, right? But, like, for me, it's been so hard to, like, watch UFC over the years. But, like, I will... it's so funny. Bill Simmons, they call him Big Fight Bill. Like, I'm like Big Fight Armani. I will show up for the big fights and then just not watch
anything else.
Because it was so hard before. Because it was like, I'm not paying ESPN $60, $70 to watch this thing every single time. No. And then, like, using these streams, I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So... Like, it just gets so expensive to watch this thing, and then now it's on Paramount, which is basically like, okay, I'm going to use my mom's Paramount, so I'm like, of course I'm going to watch it. It's like set $9 a month to watch this thing.
Dude, that's the most frustrating part now about all sports, is it being spread out over, like, Paramount, Prime, or your whatever streaming service that you have otherwise. So you have to buy, like, all three of them. Yeah. Like, I was trying to watch the playoff game last night of... Who was it the night before? And it was on, like, Amazon Prime. And I was like, why is it on... Why can't I just watch this on, like, YouTube TV? Like, I have all the channels. Why can't we, like... Dude, I'm like, seriously?
Well, I'll say this. Prime does have a good presentation, I'll say, for basketball. Better than ESPN. ESPN, even though they got inside the NBA, it's just like, they give them... I saw something on Twitter, like, they give them, like, less airtime.
Yeah.
And TNT gave him like an hour, basically. It was the funniest show on TV.
Yeah, it was
But, like, now it's like ESPN gives them like 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, well, I'm not going to put their best content out there if you're giving them so little time. They got to hit on all these topics.
Yeah.
But, I mean, going back to the NBA, I'm like, they've done it so differently than everybody else because it's so hard to, like, because you got to have Amazon Prime now. You got to have, like, what? I think they're on Netflix too, right?
Not Paramount too.
Paramount too. They're on Peacock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate Peacock. Can't stand that.
Yeah, well, but Peacock has some good show like Ted. I've heard.
Dude, Peacock. The only thing I ever have to go on to watch is the Olympics or like some high stakes like playoff game.
From high stakes playoff game, either like it's not NHL anymore, but like for NBA,
Yeah.
or like because like Peacock also has like college football. They have like the Big Ten.
Yeah, and you'll get like a random game on there that you want to see, and it's like, bro, are you serious? Like, you're kidding me right now.
Yeah.
The Tour de France is also on there. Not really a high sport for everyone, but personal beef with that.
Well, no, it's like this is the perfect example of who does it right is the Masters, because you can watch the entire Masters online for free.
Yeah.
And you got to go to masters.com or go to Masters app on your phone.
Yeah.
But like to watch like on TV or whatever, like a different broadcast, you have to have like ESPN Plus. You have to have whatever CBS is Paramount. You have to have Paramount. You have to have all these other streaming servers. I'm like, I'm just trying to watch golf.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't make sense. Also, if you watch like NFL, then you have to get like Sunday Ticket on top of everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
which is a great investment, Sunday Ticket. I will say that.
Dude, I'm not getting Sunday Ticket.
I
don't care.
I was so bored last year. I was like, I have time. I'm not after church. I'm not doing anything on Sundays. Mm. I'm a Texans fan, so like my team is not shown anywhere. And there's maybe like 5 Texans fans in DC. Yeah, I'm one of them. There's nobody there. So I'm like, if I go to a bar and try to watch this thing, my team is going to be on like the furthest TV in the damn place because like nobody's watching Texans. Mm-hmm. So
I have a little black and white TV.
Yeah, it's a little black and white TV, and like they're like nobody cares. Because you're from like DC, everybody is like the thing with DC is everybody is a what's it called, like a transplant. Transplant. So in DC, I will see mostly Patriots fans, Giants fans, Jets fans. They're Commanders fans, but they're like from DC proper.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, but a lot of people a lot of people are not from DC proper. Yeah, like they're from like the Bears have the Bears are obviously like a massive fan base, right? Yeah. But like there's so many fans of other teams that for like the Commanders, I'm like, okay, well then it's just people from there who care about them. Yeah. So that's what it really comes down to. So, but going back to Sunday Ticket, for me it's a great. I like it. Because I get to watch like 4 games on at one point in time. Yeah. And then, the night games, I have all of them on TV. And they also have I'm also in this massive fantasy football league. And
so it's probably important to you.
It's important to me, but it connects to my Yahoo account, right? And it lets me track track my team while I have Sunday Ticket on. Yeah. And what's it called? And for example, I had Mike Evans this year, right? Mm-hmm. The app would tell me hey, Mike Evans scored a touchdown. So and it was do you want to go watch it? Yeah. So I would go watch Mike Evans what Mike Evans' touchdown was. Right. So it was great for me. But then I got the first year deal, which is it was $300. But now it's gonna jump up to $400. I'm like, oof, I gotta think about that. But
put pause on.
Yeah. We'll see about other alternatives. But
see, my problem with it is I just casually watch NFL. I don't really play in a league. I won't play fantasy with it. Mm-hmm. I just don't care enough about it to really be that invested in. And the only beef I have with it is the teams I want to watch. It's dude, you have to get Sunday Ticket or go watch it on somewhere else. Yeah, because it's gonna be we're gonna get Panthers playing someone. Don't care.
Garbage.
Sorry, Panthers, but yeah, I'm okay, whatever. And then it's Falcons, and Falcons are also it's eh. And so you watch those 2 teams for sure. You'll take up the prime slots. So then you just have those 2 games and 2 trash games. Yeah. So that's kind of annoying. My favorite part about the NFL though is the European games coming on at
6 a.m., 7 a.m.
Yeah, because I'll be up and I'm man, I want to turn something on, but it's I don't want to hear Terry Bradshaw talk for 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
So it's oh, okay, I can watch the Jets playing. So I want to
Jets. I don't think you want to watch the Jets, man, but it's
well, when they had Aaron Rodgers, I was I'm turning it on. Yeah, I don't care.
There was some bad Jets games. It's so funny. It's either the Jets or Jaguars that go across. Yeah, and I'm it's gonna either be the best game
they've ever
played. They're gonna play the 2007 Patriots, right? Yeah, or it's gonna go down to the wire. They'll just blow it or just get blown out. So. That's it's so funny. During the Aaron Rodgers year, just oh, he's playing abroad. I'm I'm gonna turn this thing on at 9 a.m. Watch him blow the game, and then watch my Texans lose to whoever.
Incredible Sunday.
Yeah, it is an incredible Sunday. But the NFL, I will say, gets it right on like timing. If all their games are at 1 or 4 or 7.
Yeah.
But like they got to figure out this thing soon because they keep adding game. They keep condensing the games like the schedule wise, right? Like for example, in 2020, it was 2024. My Texans played 3 games, I think, in 10 days. They played Baltimore on Christmas Day. They played the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They played a crazy amount of like you should be in football in general. You should not be playing 3 games in 10 days. That's for injuries, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get injured, and we got killed by injuries that year.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to figure it out because I like the idea of having NFL on Black Friday because there's nothing on.
Yeah.
So just have like your main game or a big game on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Or Christmas. I like
a Christmas game.
I like Christmas game. I like Christmas games too. NBA's kind of like lost its aura with Christmas games.
Yeah, it doesn't have. You know why it lost? Because they didn't have the Christmas jerseys anymore. Once they got rid of those, it went down.
Yeah, they used to have specialized jerseys. They used to have like Chinese New Year, St. Patrick's jersey too.
Dude, but like the old St. Patty's Day jersey was tough. The like green one,
yeah,
that they had, that was tough.
If somebody ever has that jersey, I'm like, that's a ball over, man.
Yeah,
like the D Rose or Joakim Noah.
Yeah,
like ooh man, or Boozer. I'm like, ball, man. Especially that jersey. I'm like, you're in some struggles, man.
You know about it. You were there. Yeah, I think. Yeah, the NBA just doesn't have like as much presence as they do. Also, because like load management now that no one really
just killed the sport.
Really wants to play. But it's also like interesting though because like the 65 playoff or 65 regular season games. I don't know how that's gonna go because it's like everyone that you would think would be like in contention for it is now not like can't get anything.
Yeah. Well, they gave them waivers this year. But I'm like, just if you're gonna just do that, just
don't do it.
Just take down the season to like 50 games or whatever.
Yeah,
play 25 home, play 25 away.
Yeah,
because I've always been under the impression that the NBA should end about like July maybe, and then their start date should be on Christmas Day. And then you shorten that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because then everybody's waiting for the NBA, and the NBA has always been known for Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So that should be like your first day of the regular season.
Yeah. I think you start.
You're wrapping up. So it allows you to like wrap up basketball. Wrap up college football. Wrap up NFL, and then it really lets you focus in on basketball because basketball's problem right now is that they're starting in October, and those are like the hot months for college football and the NFL, and nobody's really watching basketball. Unless you're a ball knower in October, November, December.
No.
Like, I'm not watching, like, the Rockets play, like, the Hawks in, like,
I'm
November.
not watching game 1 of the opener for an 82-game season. That's, like, the same thing where I won't watch a baseball game unless I go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
Because you're playing 1,000 games. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this has minimum stakes for y'all, minimum stakes for me. Like, I don't really care. Playoffs, I don't know. I'll watch the World Series, the only thing that'll ever draw my attention for baseball. But... yeah, once you get past, like, this game doesn't really mean much to anyone, then it's kind of like, I don't really care to see it. Like,
well, I'll say this about baseball. A lot of games do matter. It's just, like, it's so funny. So there's this video on Instagram. It's just, like, you're, like, getting mad about, like, your team losing one game and every other sport. Baseball, it's like, you lose one game, it's like, fire the entire staff. Fire the GM, trade our best player, and then it's like NFL's like, oh, we lost. Like, what else can we do? And then in baseball, you're like, oh, just fire the entire state. This season's over.
It's done.
Yeah, and then you have like you go to like Dodgers Twitter, right? And then you see them complaining, and you're like first in your division or second in your division right now.
Yeah.
You have $1 billion roster. Why are you complaining about like your closer being terrible tonight? Like, don't complain. I'm a Mets and Astros fan. We are the second and first worst records in the entire baseball right now. There is no one having it. I'm not even like sold on the season. I'm like, this thing's over for me. So that's the thing about baseball too, is that your season's over pretty quick. Like, you will like know in the first like 2 months, you're like, oh, this you might as well just phone it in. Like, just it's your best part of the year is gonna be your trade deadline, and you're the one's gonna be trading people. Yeah. So like that's your most important. But NBA and going back to NBA, I mean NBA, you can just turn it on and then make the playoffs at this point because 12 teams make it now. So
that's another part of it. I don't know. I kind of like the play-in tournament idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get I don't know. I mean, you're competing for those playoff spots at least. I think you're actually having competition in those versus the regular season. You're definitely not. But I don't know. I don't know, but it is kind of like a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's just all right, everyone try to fight it out for this last spot.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you're getting those lower teams. You're turning into at least a good game to watch. Seeing who's going to actually make the last seed, especially in the West.
Yeah.
In the West, you already have good teams all the way down the board.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's better than just adding on more regular season games.
Well, no, I'm interested to see what your thoughts on the play-in tournament is, because I'm this is very gimmicky.
The play-in tournament?
The play-in is what are we doing here?
The play-in or the in-season tournament?
The in-season tournament.
I don't really like the in-season tournament. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't really understand the point. Because it starts in, the weirdest time.
It starts in November.
And I'm they've played,
10 games.
10 games, maybe? And it's you're having playoff now?
Yeah.
And, what?
The trophy means nothing, too.
Yeah, the trophy doesn't mean anything either. I don't know. It would almost be cooler if that guaranteed a spot in the playoffs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Had this super high stakes of a golden ticket.
Yeah.
But it's okay, the players get some extra money, which big for them. But as a viewer, this doesn't really
Didn't change anything.
Doesn't change anything for me. Besides, you have this neon green court that I hate looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand
some courts
that.
are pretty cool.
Some
of them look really cool.
I hate the all colored courts. I don't like them.
The Rockets have a cool one because it's all red. But then there's courts I think the Timberwolves have a green one.
The green one sucks.
Eyesore.
I'm this is terrible. I'm oh yeah, not a fan of that. You could see on the players when it was reflecting the light off, and so they had
green light. Yeah, it was just it's just an eyesore to watch.
I don't like that. I don't like seeing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Just give me a classic basketball court. That's what I want to see. Throw the logo in the middle. Just call it a day. Yeah. Bring back the old NBA Finals logos on the court.
I think Silver said he's bringing it back starting this year.
They should.
I think that's what he said. He was on a podcast I think a month ago. He said, "Yeah, we're bringing it back."
Good.
The middle of the court NBA trophy, Larry Bryan Finals logo.
That's what you need.
I'm it's what you need. You're getting there.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Get it to the point. We don't need all this frou-frou nonsense that they're just throwing out there.
My thing is I don't like advertising on the courts either.
I'm not a huge fan of that.
I'm just keep it simple as possible.
I don't know. The American Airlines arena was pretty cool though. You see, you say that and you just get picture the Heat, the old. I don't know who bought them now, whatever crypto company or whatever. But the American Airlines and the NBA Finals logo on that court is sick, man. That was pretty sick.
I mean, it was. I think FTX bought them, and FTX died, and then they were it was the Miami arena for a month until they got a new sponsor for the arena. Yeah. So I'm well, there you go.
Yeah, but I'm more for simplicity. Let's not. But yeah, the play-in I think should just go away or make it higher stakes. Personally, I don't.
How would you? The thing with the golden ticket is, then you would have the entire team basically just phoning it in at that point in November.
Well, I feel you put it in closer to the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So let's say you win and you get to play 10 less games, or you'd still play the 82 games, but you'd at 70 game mark, you'd be done pretty much if you won.
Start resting starters.
Yeah, so you got to have a lot of incentive to go out and play because that's 10, 12 extra games that you wouldn't have to send your starters out there full force. Yeah. So I feel that would be, I don't know, to me that would make a little more sense. And also then you're not putting it in November when there's so much other stuff going on that no one's going to pay attention to it anyways.
That's the thing. They got to plan this thing right because there's NFL going on, there's college football going on. Those are the first couple of weeks.
Then you're starting college basketball too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're starting, you're eventually going to hit Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have college football playoffs, which now spans forever.
I don't think that. We got to talk about that too.
All right, let's talk about that.
So here's my take. I don't think the college football playoffs should be at the end of January. Mm-hmm. I think it should be the first week of. I think it should be the first week of January. But they have a plethora of problems right now with their own calendar. Especially that was prevalent with Lane Kiffin. the recruiting calendar and all that kind of other stuff.
Yeah.
So that is like my biggest gripe with college football. I'm like, why are we having a what's it called, national championship on January 19th in the middle of like the day after the NFL conference championship? Yeah.
They need to revise their whole calendar. Mostly all of college sports does.
Yeah.
You need to move the transfer windows to other times, or I think they'd have to create contracts personally in college sports now. I think you have to, if you're signing a full ride scholarship to somewhere, I think it should be a 2-year commitment. I think the 1 year is just kind of like, I don't like it. It's like, all right, you didn't even really give it a chance to see what happened. Like, you were there for 1 year. You might have had a bad situation where you're stuck behind someone that's pretty good,
or a coach gets fired.
I think that's where you could add in clauses of things like if head coach leaves, is void or whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just all right, we're going to pay you a lot of money, come play, but at the end of the season, we don't know if you're coming back or not.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's a very good system, because either treat it like a pro sport or don't have it where it's basically a pro sport.
The thing is that they're going to have, if that does happen, then the majority of the money will go towards college football, which kind of screws out basketball, baseball, the Olympic sports, all that other stuff. So they got to figure it out here soon, which I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
But they floated around having a commissioner. If you're gonna get a commissioner, I guess Nick Saban's your guy. Guy who absolutely just hates his system and who got it at the right time. I give him a lot of credit for that. He saw what was going to happen and what was happening. He's like, well, I can't keep a kid. I can't recruit a kid who's already in my locker room.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem with college football right now. It's like, I was talking to somebody last night about it. I'm like, look, back in the day, pre-NIL, everybody was informed of the stars matter, right? Once your player was committed to Clemson, right, you knew they were going to be there next year. Now it's to the point where okay, they can commit to Clemson, but will we see them on the they can commit somewhere else next week?
Yeah,
it's it didn't really matter anymore. The pre and the national signing day or whatever, right? Or the commitment or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's out the door now.
Yeah.
So
it's until you get to that first game, it doesn't really you don't know who's going to be on the roster. That's the guy that went to Clemson for 1 week and then transferred first week of the spring semester.
Yeah.
To Ole Miss. Yeah, and it's bro, that makes no sense on how you can do why you should be able to do that. If you're guaranteeing we're going to pay you to come here, then that's a contract.
Yeah.
You should have some sort of service agreement of I'm going to go play for one year. I think it's fine if you want to break it up into terms the same way you sign free agents for 4 years, 3 years, 1 year. But I think you have to be able to add that into this, because at the end of the day, you're acting like a professional.
Yeah.
And so you should be treated like a professional. And it is unfortunate because you are 18 through 20, well, it's 24.
There's special sense of Bennett, you're 26. But,
but outside of that, it's tough though, as you're a young kid who's getting a lot of money thrown at them. And that makes it hard for anyone to really think completely clearly. But to that, it's where the college and NCAA should be looking to how can they protect these athletes from bad agents and getting bad deals, and also countless stories of getting promised something and not getting it or whatever. So I guess it kind of would make more of a sense to make a general commission.
Yeah.
But I feel it needs to flow more on the schools and kind of conferences to how can you make this system to where you're helping kids still grow and get it while you're still having I'm never going to be anti getting your money, go get paid, but it's let's make this an actual reasonable process.
Yeah. I am generally I'm pretty pro NIL, right? I'm you should be paid for your likeness for what you're doing, right? But the way it was instituted in 2020, it was they did no restrictions and then look where we're at now in 2026.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute. It's a free for all, and I mean, for people like you and me, and Keely too. Like we grew up with Tebow's and yada yada yada, all those type players, right?
Yeah.
Who just will die for the sport.
Love the game.
Love the game. Literally would pay. Literally would. I mean, they never got paid, but they love the school. They love the game. That is not existent anymore.
Yeah, I think love the school's really gone.
It's gone.
Of where you really want to commit to your state school, where what other place has that kind of draw, or you want to go to Alabama, or you want to go to freaking the Ohio State University.
Yeah, whatever they say.
Whatever. But those schools have that draw because you have this name. Now it's kind of who's gonna pay me? It's not so much where can I go to develop and really they have a name.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters as much now because it's I don't know. Pretty much every school has some type of bag.
The whole thing, yeah. Well, because it's there's some back in the day, there's some coaching staffs okay, you want to win national championships here at whatever Bama, right? But you can go to a school for example, whatever we'll say this Florida or Oklahoma State, right? Where if you're a positional player and there's a track record of players being drafted from there to go to the NFL, or you're going to go somewhere you're sitting behind a bench for two years or a year, right? Or you go somewhere you can start day one at a quote unquote smaller program, start immediately, be developed, and then you're already let's say 3 years, 4 years from now, you're a top prospect in the draft.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting there for 2 years and not playing or whatever, right?
Well, I think it's I don't know, it's a little hard because you're dealing with kind of I don't know. It's kind of a multitude of problems of you can get now very easily attention from being at a smaller school because of social media and all the works.
Yeah,
so you can go get your name out there. But is that program I don't know how much that's is that really helping you build to get better, or is it better to go sit in Alabama where you're sitting behind 5 superstars?
Yeah.
And you're not going to see the field for a year and maybe some in the second year, but you're getting to see what those dudes do.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's hard to say for sure, and also your talent that you're playing against once you do play, pretty tough. I mean, you're playing the top of the top. So I don't know if it's the best to go sit at what would be a good example. It's I don't know,
Mississippi State or whatever.
Yeah,
it's Mississippi State's it's a good school, right?
Yeah,
good school, good program, right? But I mean,
I feel like a Cincinnati.
You're not really a playoff team, man,
dude.
They were a playoff team at one point in time.
That was when we had a 4-team. That was before the great reckoning of the 12-team
playoff.
And they got in because of technicalities, and everyone was upset. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it's all right, you go play there, and it's are you really playing the best competition year round? I would say no, because when they did, they got waxed.
Yeah. They were in the game for a bit, but I mean, Bama was just Bama. So.
It was Bama.
Yeah.
They weren't going to win that game. If you took them if you bet on them,
yeah, choice. You got to talk to somebody. Call the number.
Yeah.
You got to call the gambling hotline if you bet on Cincinnati.
If you're betting on Cincinnati to
win that game.
Alabama, that's Notre Dame beating Alabama. It's just, I'm taking Alabama.
Have you seen the video of Manti Te'o talking about that game?
Yeah.
For context for the viewers, right? So Manti was we were all hyped up to play this thing. And then Bama starts walking out of the tunnel, and Manti was we're not winning this. There's no shot.
Yeah.
That was the peak, I think, Saban year. Starting with the peak Saban years when they played.
That was tough.
And they're we're not beating this team. Look at our team, look at their team. There's no shot.
Yeah. When you're just standing in the tunnel and it's these guys are double our size. It's well, we might be cooked.
It's over, man.
Yeah, that would kill the energy quickly. Yeah. So once again, I don't know. It's just it's tough.
How do you feel about the 12 team?
I like it more than I don't know. I think it's a pretty good mix. I think you can always just keep making the argument to keep going bigger, which I wouldn't like. I don't know. Part of me is like just argue to go to like the March Madness stuff.
64
Let's
teams,
go 64. Get rid of all these bowl games. No one wants to watch.
Yeah.
Let's see Alabama play Hawaii in like the Chips Ahoy Classic or something.
Something like that, man.
Something. I don't care. In like the start of December, like okay, like or just figure it out to where you can do the buys to make it work or whatever. At the top, like 32, get a buy or however you want to number it.
You brought up a good thing. Like that's the thing they're gonna figure out soon too, because the bowl games, like terrible. Like nobody like back in the day, yeah, it mattered. Like now it's just like, why are we playing the Barstool Sports Bowl? And no offense to Barstool Sports, but like if that was 10 years ago, people would care. But like now it's
how much money do you have to get a bowl game?
Yeah, how much money do you have to get a bowl game? Like you just put in.
Maybe we'll get a Mathis Show bowl game.
Mathis Show, yeah, the Mathis Show at the Valley or whatever, right? But like nobody like cares anymore about the bowl games, and like even the players sit out. Yeah. So like for me as a viewer, I'm like they should in the benefit of the playoff. What they should do is they should have 2 games on campus.
I think definitely
2 games on campus for sure.
I think you should go up until the
semis,
and then I think you should transfer. But however many games you're going to play up until the semi and the final, should be at home.
Yeah, because what that does is preserve your big bowls, like your Citrus Bowl, your Cotton Bowl, your Rose Bowl, your Fiesta Bowl, your whatever Sugar Bowl, right?
Yep.
That preserves those. The ones that people care about and know about, the general fan knows about.
Yeah.
But if you have 2 games on campus, that allows you to like have like whatever a Penn State whiteout. Yeah. And the 2 Penn State whiteouts back to back. And then you're getting you have a smaller team come in, not quote unquote lower seed come in, and you're getting a big dog come in for the second game if you're a high seed.
Yep.
So it makes the viewership at that time, and especially like during the NFL playoff or like when the NFL starting to wrap up, it'd be like. That's a big game.
That's a big game,
yeah. You can have 2 straight. It gives also incentive to like, hey, like if we win, if we
get into those top spots, we get 2 home games.
2 home games, and then for revenue, and like you make the business side of aspect. I mean, you get more money from playing at home than you will playing at like wherever Alabama for like the whatever taxpayer bowl.
Yeah.
So like it would be Gator Bowl, but it would be like wherever. I mean, it's the Cheez-It Bowl, the Pop-Tart Bowl now.
Yeah.
But like it'd be beneficial for the viewers and like the general sport if you have two home games, and then you go into your New Year's Sixes or your big games, and then you go to your national championship, which is not a bowl game, but like it's at a venue that a bowl game is usually at.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think they should have them at home. I mean, it's so much. It gets the people involved, really. Once you have, like, the tailgating and all of that on top of it, and, like, everyone's coming down there, coming to the local spots, and then you get to go actually see the game. Like, I don't know. It's also just cooler, like, viewing it. Like, when Clemson went and played in Texas, and they were playing, like, at Texas.
That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. Like, you know, and it was like.
Only time I've ever played.
Yeah. And it was like. Okay, this is cool because you see, like, the student section, and you see it, and it's like, dang.
Yeah.
That's a tough environment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't like to go to a neutral field and no, that's not how you should be going to an away game and playing it like an away game.
Yeah. Because it would make it insane it'd make it really hard to win. Like, as a neutral side game, like, I think I texted you this one time. I'm like, if you had Clemson LSU at any other site in the world, other than the damn Mercedes-Benz Stadium or Superdome in New Orleans, it's probably a different game. That's a home game for LSU.
Yeah.
Granted, that was a national championship, but it's a neutral sites will kill an environment, kill like any any sort of like what's it called advantage.
I mean, that's where I think it's tough. Well, that's why it's like such a big deal when you have like a bowl game in a home. Like near a home state, that you just get the crowd to travel, and it's like, well, why would you artificially take that out of the game?
Yeah, that's the best part of the game.
Yeah, it's like that's what people came to see. It's like, let's get it active.
Well, I will say too. I guess the argument is like, then it'd be such an advantage to like an SEC school to have those 2 home games and a Big Ten school. because Big Ten it's in December. That's cold.
Go up there and play in December.
You're playing in Indiana in 20-degree weather, or Michigan in 10-degree weather. But you got an SEC school, or whoever, Texas A&M has to travel to Michigan and play 10 degrees weather. Like, good luck, man.
Well, that's why you should better win. Better win out. Like, you don't want to go play in Green Bay in January. You know? Like, dude, you know, if you don't want to do it, win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would agree. I would love to see home college football playoffs games.
I think that should be I think that should be the.
Once again, can you imagine a 64 team playoff and you have 4 games at home?
Yeah, like Clemson would be
the pretty sick
32nd seed or whatever. And
probably.
Dabo would still tell us, "Hey, we're on the cusp of getting to a top seed." I'm like, "Come on, man!"
Yeah, we're close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't been close in 6 years, man. Come on,
we have not been close. No one's felt a vibe in 6 years. Yeah, tough one. Okay, well, just about to do a different subject.
Yeah.
I'm interested to kind of hear how you've gotten to where you are at now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very cool what you do now.
Yeah.
But to kind of start with, grew up in Texas, right? What was that like home life growing up there? You went to public school throughout there, right?
So I grew up in Houston, Texas, or I say Houston, Pasadena, Texas. 30 minutes outside of the city. Pasadena is the second largest city in the Houston area. So grew up there. Was living there until obviously 18 years old.
Yeah.
But did public school for 6 years of my life, or 6 grades, and then went homeschooled. And then was homeschooled for the remainder of my childhood, my adolescence, I guess. Yeah. And then went to Clemson. Got involved in politically at 15 years old. So technically, my first engagement in politics was about 2012, right? Which was when I started homeschooling. So my former professor, Joanne Jurin, or I call her professor, she's my tutor. It was a co-op homeschool, so it's one of
okay.
Yeah,
okay. So you did a co-op where you're going somewhere.
Yep.
For a couple of days, and then you have study time outside of that.
Yep. So Joanne Jurin was she was my teacher at the co-op, right? I went in. I was like, okay, she's yada yada yada, great. I didn't know she was that involved in Tea Party politics, which is you at the time, you got to remember 2012, in 2010, 2012, the Tea Party started really taking over the Republican Party. She was actively involved in that side of that side of the party with Ted Cruz and all the So I didn't know that, and then the 2012 election was going on, right? And I was in speech and debate with her in that class in government, whatever, the politics class. And we talked a lot about political stuff. Yeah. And then I got interested in that from her. I really attributed my where I'm at now to her. Hey, this is what's going on. I need you guys to write a page essay or 2-page essay. Watch the debates tonight and tell me what you liked about them. Tell me what you didn't like about them. And so that was our for grade. It was watch the debate. Tell me what you thought the candidates did well, what they didn't do well, which at the time was Obama and Romney, and then Biden and Paul Ryan. No, I'm sorry, get flipped. It was Romney, Ryan, Biden, Obama, Biden. Sorry. So it was. We watched all those debates. We had to report on them, and then really in class we would all talk about it because everybody would report on what they viewed, good or bad, yada yada yada. Yeah. So I started getting interested there. Fast forward to 2015, which is the year everything changed politically, literally from to where we're at now. Yeah, you had Trump on stage, you had Cruz on stage, Rubio on stage, Fiorina on stage, Christie on stage. So I I'm sitting there. My mom is really liking So Dad, I remember this vividly. So Dad, me and my mom liked Rubio and Cruz because being from Texas, it was everybody knew Cruz was, and Cruz was the guy back then. But then Rubio is he's a great senator. He's Hispanic, yada yada yada, great conservative. Yeah. And then we're watching Fox or CNN or whatever, right? And we see Trump coming down the escalator, and I'm watching that. My mom's watching that. My dad's leaving for work, and my dad looks at TV, and he was like, "That guy's gonna win the nomination," and just walked out to work. He didn't even like listen to the whole speech. He's like, "That guy's gonna win," and we're like looking at him. He's like, "You guys watched The Apprentice with me, and I grew up watching The Apprentice too. I used to watch it with my parents all the time."
Yeah.
So he was like, just knowing what I know from The Apprentice, and knowing how he runs his business, because they've been following Trump since the 80s, 90s. They're like, that guy's gonna win, and he left full confidence. So my first political rally was Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
It was at the Houston Marriott in right by the airport in Houston, right by the Hobby Airport.
Okay.
So it was pre the 2016 primary debate at U of H.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a little rally there. I have a picture with him with Rubio 10 years ago. Obviously, I was a fat kid, so I'm like, no, I don't want that. That picture is horrible. But like, that was my first first political rally. I vividly remember that.
Yeah.
And so, but I watched the debate. I like Trump too. I like Cruz, Trump, and Rubio. Mm-hmm. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with either. So I was like, well, either of them would be great. So I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I was 16. I'm like, what am I going to do? Vote? I can't vote.
Yeah.
But like, I liked all three. But we get to the debate. I'm like watching at U of H. I'm like, that guy, Trump was going to win. So it became Rubio dropped out. Trump and Ted. Mm-hmm. Ted dropped out. Trump got the nod at the convention, and then it was him and Hillary. And I was still in high school at the time with the professor I said, Joanne Jern. Mm-hmm. So we just kept getting involved in politics. And my mom kept getting involved in politics. And me being homeschooled, she was kept getting invited to go talk places too.
Yeah.
And so I would go with her to travel to go watch her speak and watch her meet people and watch her do politics. And I never, I was very cordial and met people.
Yeah.
Met members of Congress, met senators. At like 15, 16 years old with her.
Yeah.
And like party leaders and stuff like that. So that was my like first dip, and I watched her from the side. And then we flash back to 18, or I guess fast forward to 18, right? Mm-hmm. My first job my first job is lifeguarding. I would say that out there. It was awesome. It was, so here's the thing. I get sidetracked.
You got to set the tone for how.
Yeah, so here's the thing. My first job was not in politics. My first job was lifeguarding. Uh-huh. It was I'll say this and you're going to love it. My first summer lifeguarding was summer 2016.
What time?
Absolute elite year to just be in the guard room and just be a teenager. Because we don't have to go into that much, right? But the culture wise, like you had the Migos, you had Drake, you had all those guys.
So you had Post Malone coming out.
But being from Houston, Travis Scott was a hot thing. He was
really
brand new, yeah. So everybody like I think he dropped Astral in 17, but he was
you saw like Antidote and all
exactly
those outside.
So he was when I was living in Houston, he was rising to fame. Yeah. But okay, shifting back to politics. So my first job in politics was Faith and Freedom Coalition regional director, and it was the Cruz and Beto O'Rourke election in Texas, which. That is, to this day, I think the most expensive. Well, Corn and Paxton right now, I think took the mantle of how expensive it was. But at the time, it was the most. I may be wrong, but it was the most expensive race in U.S. history, or most expensive Senate race. I'm sorry. So that was my first race. Regional director. It was my team of homeschoolers. We knocked on 15,000 doors in Houston for that what's it called for that race, and then Cruz ended up winning. Mm-hmm. So year after that, I graduate from HEP, Home Education Partnership. Shout out HEP. So not a sponsor. Who could be a sponsor? I'll tell Joanne. I'll tell Joanne a sponsor. But no, flash forward to 2019.
Before you jump into that, I want to ask some questions about it. With the co-op, do you think that was a good benefit for you, like overall, because you got to be able to do all these like other things versus if you're in like a traditional school of like 5 days a week, you kind of wouldn't be able to go travel with your mom or
So I would say that I wouldn't be here without co-oping. Mm-hmm. I didn't. If I would have stayed at public school, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to like all these events with my mom or really get involved with politics or really, I mean, one of the things I did, and it's not on my resume, it's on my LinkedIn. But like I was a sports, LinkedIn's a big, LinkedIn, But like it was on my LinkedIn. But like I was a sports writer for like 3 years in growing up and when I was in high school.
Yeah,
I used to write for Fanside, which is House of Houston, and I used to write about Texans, Rockets, and Astros. So that's like something I wouldn't be able to do if I was in what's it called?
Normal public school.
Normal public school. So the funniest thing about that job, or not, it wasn't like a job. It was just basically fun. It was something I'm passionate about, so I just did it. So my parents didn't know about it for like 3 years. I was sitting there writing articles. They did not know a single thing. So, and then it took my uncle, who I talk with sports all the time with, and he sent them an article. He's like, your son does this. They're like, no. It was an article that I wrote about Scottie Pippen basically being a clown. He said he makes I forgot what comedy he made, but I wrote about it, and it apparently made Scottie Pippen mad. So I'm this 17-year-old making an NBA Hall of Famer. What am I doing?
Yeah,
but like. That was a very fun thing.
Rage baiting before it was
rage baiting before rage baiting, yeah. But like that was like that was something I loved. But like going back to your original question, I wouldn't be here without co-oping, and I plan to co-op my kids.
Okay.
No shade to public school.
Yeah.
But I after seeing the effects it has done on my brother, on me, my friends from co-oping. All of them, like, I'll say this, a lot of them, and it's a testament to Joanne Jurin, Miss Red, Miss Rothberg, all those great professors, right?
Shout out.
Give them a shout out. I'll send them a link after this to watch. But like, I wouldn't, like, a lot of those kids who I went to HEP with, or Home Education Park, all of them are successful right now. There's not I don't think there's a single person I can point to and be like, oh man, something went wrong there. Yeah. A lot of them are lawyers, done with med school now, or in med school themselves. Yeah. Pretty successful in marketing. Yada yada yada. So it was a good class. Or one of my friends, Presley Tucker, right? Presley is this like world class dancer. She lives in LA. She does work. She did Lady Gaga's Abracadabra video. She was the main dancer in that. Oh, so. Like, that is, like, the type of people who go to that school. It's like, and UNC basketball player, Justin Jackson, from the national championship year. Yeah. He was not in the co-op, but he co-oped with people that I know from, it was like a mutual co-op. Like, people, like, there's, like, separate co-ops in Houston.
Yeah, there's, like, a couple of them.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but he went to a different co-op, or he was homeschooled in different whatever circles. But he still played, I think one of the basketball leagues that they have for homeschoolers. So he played there, and a lot of people from my co-op knew him. Yeah. So it was like one of those things that it was pretty cool watching a homeschooler just be one of the best players on that UNC team. So that's the type of students that go there. Yeah. All of them are, it was cool because we all got to like learn what we wanted to learn, right? Like in public school, it's like, okay, we got to learn this, learn this, learn this. Yeah. In HEP, I was like, okay, I want to take a culinary class. I want to take a class on, then now they have a HEP right now, and that's just me seeing on Facebook and, just like still being in touch with my teachers. They have a class on like getting your drone license, becoming a pilot. So like, it's stuff like that, that school sets you up for success in the long term. And HEP, Miss Cruteau, shout out Miss Cruteau, that she still is to this day the hardest teacher I've ever had, because she my writing, she would red mark everything. So she was that hard as professor, or hard as a teacher. But like, once I was done with HEP, Clemson, when I got to Clemson, it was easier. I hate to put it that way, but it was easier than HEP was harder than Clemson.
Because the bar already got set.
The bar already got set. Like, I was like, the way the co-op was run, like, it was very, like, top tier everything. Like, you gotta have time management skills. You have to have, you can stay on top of your grades. You have to be able to, like, know when to reach out to professors and be like, hey, I need help on this. Learn to do all these other things. But, like, whenever I got to Clemson, I was like, I'm a little bit worried about this. And then when I'm through the bridge program and through Clemson, I'm like, this is easier than HEP. Because the HEP already got me thinking, like, hey, like, this is the standard. This is how it's going to be in college, or this is how college can be when they get you to that standard.
Yeah.
And what they trained in me, and as well as my classmates, is to have those high expectations and high standards to go perform at wherever we go about.
Yeah.
So that is the cool thing I appreciate with HEP.
Do you think like some of the secret sauce then is like kind of the fact of you're getting that bar set, but then you're also kind of having to develop those life skills outside of it, since you're not being forced to like be in class 5 days a week. You have to kind of be able to take accountability to do your work, and then on top of that, you're having. It sounds like you get to. I'm sure there's probably core classes or whatever, like some core to it, but it's mostly like passion or interest driven for some of it, versus like you have to take one of these three, or like this is pretty much your class. Like you can choose one elective, you know, like
well, for me, it's like I grew up near NASA, so like just growing up, the STEM was heavily pushed, which is like your engineering, your mathematics. I was never a mathematic person. I'm horrible at math. Like I have to use a calculator for everything, basically. I don't think I need to know math for, and I jokingly say this, is like the count money and like a budget. But like I don't use math. Yeah. So like it's different for me, and you know my brain doesn't think that way. But there's other people I did go to class with that do, and a lot of them are successful engineers now. But like HEP, they allowed me to be like, okay, I'm gonna focus I went to Clemson for poli-sci and comps, so like it allowed me to focus on I need to focus on my writing rather than I need to be stressed out about like algebra 5, algebra 3. I'm like I don't need algebra 3 to like write a paper. I just need to know how to like have good punctuation, have good grammar, have good how to structure your essay, how to like structure your wording, how to structure your eye-catching sentence, how to develop a good eye-catching sentence. Yeah. So that type of stuff that was ingrained in me at HEP. So
yeah, so sounds like really just a lot of stuff comes together. Yeah. To like actually make it useful. Yeah. I mean, it's also just interesting that you probably have more free will to talk about like the political side of things. I would assume there. But, if you were at a public school or like private school, so I think it's also kind of interesting. I don't know. Me and Keeler have talked about it multiple times of like going between like publics, because we both went through public school. But I've had I have a friend who did co-op. I've talked to someone that runs a co-op, and I don't know. To me, it's an interesting thing. I think as a kid, you don't really know what you're doing anyways. And so, like, being able to have freedom to at least develop, like, responsible skills. Yeah. And the other thing that they did at the co-op of who I talked to was that they're trying to set it up to be more of, like, a work, like, study of, like, go out and do, like, an internship or, like, apprenticeship or, like, whatever the official name would be. Yeah. But to me, it's like that's a lot more valuable than anything in the classroom personally. Like, you know, like I think going out and actually seeing something and doing it. Yeah. And I think that'd be very valuable. Yeah. But it's also like I don't know. I just don't. Public school doesn't sell me exactly. Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like you're in business. I'm in politics. We can attest to. I guess I'm 25 now. You're 24, right?
Almost.
You're 20. Yeah. So like, but just like growing now, knowing what we know now, we can surely say that doing an internship or apprenticeship is better than sitting in a class for 8 hours a day. Yeah. Would you rather go get your? Would you rather like be stressed out about like a assignment at school, or would you rather be sitting there learning your craft? Yeah, like learning how the job. If you want to do this long term, like actually like sitting down, learning how to like do the job before you actually like make that career decision to pursue something in that field. Well, yeah, politics is very valuable too. An internship or apprenticeship.
That's what I think. I think it's where it's like, all right, there's a lot of cool stuff you can go do in like I think a blue collar job. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool people I know that do it.
Welding. Yeah, welding's a very good job.
All right, welding's a cool job. But do
Yeah.
you want to go do that for 8 hours a day, every single day for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Go try it now.
Exactly.
Go find out
Yeah.
when you have no stakes involved.
Yeah, like
You
I tell
have
my brother
nothing.
that all the time. I'm like, you have no stakes involved. Like doing an apprenticeship and like if you want to,
Yeah.
like for example, like plumbing.
Mhm.
Like people have this people have this like stigmatization or whatever. This like thing about plumbers. Like, oh well, it's just like crappy job. I'm like,
Yeah.
plumbers are very valuable, man. Like you know how hard it is to fix a toilet.
Yeah.
I can't fix a toilet, but that's why. But like it's that thing. Like you can become a plumber
Mhm.
and then eventually own your own business as a plumber.
Yeah.
And then you're making at least 300, 400 grand a year, something like that.
You're having a solid business.
You have a solid business. Yeah.
You're not doing bad.
And you're never going to be replaced by AI or anything. How is AI going to fix a plumber? It's human aspects.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like the most valuable thing is I would tell a younger kid. I'm like, look, the choice of college is important too, right? Mm-hmm. But find good mentors and find if you're in a good industry, try to go to an apprenticeship or an internship, and that's what's going to carry you throughout the rest of your career.
Yeah, because I mean, you're going to find what you like and don't like, and you're going to find a lot more things that you don't like than you probably do like.
Yep.
And it's better to check those off on the don't like column earlier than later.
Yep.
So to me, it's like that's where it's kind of like I think that would be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's I think every method has their own way, and everyone gets to where they're at somehow. So
every industry is different. But
I don't really want to slam either one of them.
Yeah.
But I do see many advantages that you don't have possible through a co-op versus a public school.
Yeah.
But it all works out. Now you get to Clemson.
Yeah.
And you're getting now involved. Well, you're in Bridge.
Yeah. So
best place ever.
My first internship was the summer of 2019. I'm just going timeline purposes, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned about this program through my mom, and she's like, "Hey, you should look at this internship program for Capitol Hill." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like 18 years old, but like I'm interested in politics. Where else did you work in DC? You go hand in hand. Yeah. So I applied for the internship program. I get interviewed by Derek Wilburn, great guy out of Colorado now. I get interviewed by him. I get into the program. I don't hear anything until the week before the internship starts.
Oh.
And a congressman from Georgia, Jody Heiss, his team reached out to me. I was like, "Hey, we got your resume from from Derek. We'd like to set up an interview." I was in Corpus Christi with my mom visiting my aunt, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do the interview."
Yeah.
He answered the questions, yada yada yada, and then moved to DC, and within the week, started my internship. And it's crazy. Those people in that office I was in, the best in the business right now in DC politics. So Tim Reitz was chief of staff in that office. He's now the executive director of Freedom Caucus. Nathan Barker is a very accomplished, who was the intern coordinator for the Heiss office, is now a very accomplished legislative director on Capitol Hill. Najay Phones is Harry's wife, one of my other good friends. She was a communications director at that time. Nick Brown, who is the legislative director in that office, now a very long time chief of staff and a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So it was like, we joke around, it was like, that was the Alabama of offices. And then, my fellow intern was Hannah Arvey, who is now national security at the White House, and was my coworker last year in Chip Roy's office as an LD. Mm-hmm. So we were in the same internship at the same time, internship crowd, same office. And then now that entire team at one point is now a absolute machine, or everybody's damn good at what they do in DC politics. So we're in that one office at one point in time. So it's pretty cool. But then go to Clemson, go to the Bridge program after my first internship. Go to Clemson after the internship, and then met you guys there. For first week of class
at the Lightsey.
The Lightsey little Brit, the thing by Hannah set up. I was like, you got to meet your building mates, right? I met I met Keely. I met you guys there. I met Zach Walker and Matt Price were my roommates in Tyler.
Shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt Price. I just saw him yesterday. He was at the George Strait concert. he's a great dude. I love Matt. See, me and him joke around all the time because we didn't really get along our first year or first semester. And then I think Zach and Tyler went out to like go do something because they're both from South Carolina, so they went home for the weekend. So me and Matt sat there for a weekend and watched NASCAR, just hang out. We have more in common than we thought we did. Yeah. And since then, he's been one of my best friends in life.
You like NASCAR?
Yeah, we were watching like Darlington or whatever. They were racing Darlington, right? Yeah. And then I'm like, I actually like this guy. Yeah. And him and I have been best friends ever since. I mean, he's one of my best friends in life. So met them there, and then met Emily Jackson or Emily Bates. I'm sorry, as of 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So Emily Bates. I met her because somebody put in the group me, hey, this girl needs an Alexa fixed. And so I'm like, oh, I know technology. I'll go fix her Alexa. And then her and I became friends through that way. Yeah. And then she's one of my very, very, very good friends. Best friend too, really. Yeah. So, and then I met Zoe Wickgeiser through that. I met Olivia, I forgot, it's Dershowitz now. It was Olivia Hunt back then. But I met them through there. And then that was a crazy break. Emma Gore, Sterling Stanchek. Shout out Morgan Stanchek as well, Sterling's sister. Yeah. In politics with me. Sterling's got a baby now, so it's pretty cool. It's kind of cool seeing your college like 7 years ago now.
Yeah, that's the wild part of how quickly everything just fades by.
Yeah, dude. It was. We were talking about it last night. It was like somebody. It was one of my friends from the George Strait concert. He's like, I drive around South Carolina because he's in a race right now for a campaign. So he was like, I drive around South Carolina. I see Clemson class of 2030 signs. I'm like, oh my god! Like class of what year? I was 23, man. Man, that's crazy. But like time flew by. But I mean, everybody I met freshman year, I still keep in touch with.
Dude, do you talk to Paul? Shoot, what is his last name? It's probably Paul Business. I think is his last name. I want to say, is it Paul Finance or something? It's something to do with business. He lived in like the building across.
Oh, Paul Economy.
Paul Economy.
Yeah, Paul Economy. I saw Paul Economy on. Dude, I haven't talked to Paul in a long. I hope if he sees this, I hope he's doing well.
I hope Paul is doing well.
I haven't talked to him in a hot minute. Last time I saw him, he was on Instagram. I think he's a Navy SEAL or something like that now. Dude, like he's doing damn good.
I know he was training for it.
He did it.
I saw him my junior year, one of the two. Yeah. Because one of my friends happened to become friends with him from being like a bouncer at downtown.
Oh, he was a bouncer. He was a bouncer at study hall.
And he was talking to Paul, and I was like, you know Paul? Dude, no way. But yeah, cool guy.
Well, that's the thing. I think I said that to somebody else too. I'm like, Clemson was as big as Clemson is like quote unquote medium campus.
The biggest small town ever.
The biggest small town ever. But everybody like knew everybody. Like you would walk in a trip. Like here's the thing. Like people like I tell people about this. I'm like I used to walk in a Triple T's and I knew 30 people in the bar. And it's not because I'm a popular kid. It's because that's the way it was. Like everybody knew everybody, and that's the way Clemson. That's why it made the college experience right. Yeah, it was like I can walk into anywhere and just know somebody.
Well, I feel like part of it's because you have a lot of like the local, like you'll pull in from like Greenville County, and then you're pulling in also from the outside of South Carolina, obviously. But then it becomes like, all right, the 20 people I know just met like you. Yeah. Now you know them, and then it's like, just the connection game of like, oh, they know someone else. Now you like, I don't know. You build a lot of
good friends at Clemson.
Yeah, a lot of good friends, a lot of networks of like seeing people. It's cool. Like I like it. I'm sure some people probably don't. But I don't know. I think it's great.
It was
great.
It's the
best school. I would never trade,
Yeah, I mean, we're reminded of how much we love Clemson every time we have to pay the student loan. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's how I proclaim my love for them. There you go. The student loan payment. Right. But no, went to Clemson with you guys, obviously. Graduated 2023. Did internships on Capitol Hill, and I did one in 2021.
What was that like doing an internship during? Well, that was kind of I don't know. That was like COVID during the 2020. Was that like all online for you, or was it like you go there? No.
So 2020, I started working for Biloxi, which is Candace Owens' organization at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was their director of student engagement, and then I was their as director of media, director of public relations, or whatever in South Carolina for the chapter here. Mm-hmm. So I did that in college. But going back to the internship part in Capitol Hill, no, it was mostly like mask was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was, but it was after tensions were high because it was like 6 months after J6. So I don't even have to I don't have to go into that. Like it was 6 months after J6, COVID happened. COVID was still like in like people still worry about it then.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just different. The 2021 one was way different than 2019, but that was for obvious reasons. Clearly. And also the Senate. The way that Senate internships are it's more like quieter. There's not much going on. The House side is always something going on. That's why I've always liked the House.
Yeah.
Like I'm more of a for me now that I'm like more like I guess mid-level senior or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the House a lot because it's more rapid fire. Granted, I work for Chip Roy, Warren Davidson, and Ben Klein, great Freedom Caucus guys who are always in the fights. So that's the type of like members I've worked for. So I have a different experience than other people.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've always taken the House to be like the more fast-paced chamber, while the Senate is more like procedurally done. Like your leg staff in the Senate is like the leg staff is important everywhere, but like your legislative staff. Mm-hmm. So, but like in the Senate, like you can literally tank stuff using procedures and tank stuff using you can do it in the House side, but like the Senate's such an interesting institution where it's like nitty gritty stuff can kill a bill. It's crazy how the Senate works.
Yeah,
I'm more of a comms person, so I just know how to communicate stuff. Mm-hmm. But like you can get a ledge person, they'll tell you especially an old school ledge person. They can tell you all day long stuff they've killed by using the procedure process, using the amendments process, using different levers that you can use in the Senate that the House doesn't have.
So you just you can really control things.
Yeah, the staff. Yeah, you can obviously the senators being a big deal, right?
Yeah,
but in that your staff is very crucial. It is your lifeline, and people don't realize it's just it's more you see a guy on TV or for example Ted Cruz. Mm-hmm. There's a whole staff behind him that is helping him out your policy things, your less comms things, all that stuff, right? But it takes there's some offices that are really really damn good. They're
how many people are normally when you're saying a staff of one person, is that 50, 20, 100 people?
Mm-hmm.
What would you kind of...
A House office is about, let's say, 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9 staffers. Your chief of staff. Some people have deputy chief of staffs, comms director, your press assistants, your legislative director, your legislative aides, or maybe some offices have two legislative aides.
Kind of one person for each role, and staying around 10-ish.
Yeah. So in the Chip Roy office, we had me, who's the comms director. We had a chief of staff. We had a deputy chief of staff, but he lived in Texas. And then we had Jason, who was the LD, and then we had Kate and Michael, and then Leah. So it was the way that office is structured is different than other offices where they mostly focused on, because Chip was a big big policy guy. Mm-hmm. So he likes his LAs. He has more LAs than some other offices do, because some offices maybe have 1 or 2 LAs. Chip had 3.
What was LA?
Legislative aid.
Okay.
They help out the legislative director, but they tackle specific issue areas. So, for example, Michael handled healthcare, Jason handled judiciary for Chip, and then Hannah would handle national security, the foreign policy type stuff. Uh-huh. So, the legislative people are more they really hone in on specific policy areas that they like. And work from there. Obviously, your LD kind of has to know everything about everything a little bit, at least know about it.
Yeah.
But for example, someone like Jason Pena, who is a great guy, he is one of the best policy people I've ever been around. when it comes to immigration. So and judiciary. So he's not a lawyer too, but he's honed in on those two subject areas to where like
He just
even
knows.
as an LD, right? Or even as the LD, like you go to him, you're like, okay, you can just do. He would tell you like, okay, this is how it's done. This is what specific bill.
That's his craft.
Yeah,
that's
it's
what he's good at.
it's his craft. Like he's perfect. He obviously like he's not. Nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
but he is like one of the best I've ever seen, or best I know. One of the best I know when it comes to immigration policy, when it comes to judiciary policy, that type of stuff. So, but then you go to get shipped over to like somebody like Hannah or somebody in my other offices, right? Like for example, Warner Allison. In the Warren Davidson office, he knows it's finance stuff because Warren was on finance committee. So like he worked at like NASDAQ years ago, right? Yeah, he worked at NASDAQ. He worked at one of the big financial companies over there in New York for a long time. So like he comes in with that experience in the office. So he had crypto too. So like he knew a lot about crypto. Yeah. So, but then you just hone on those areas. Like again, go back to Hannah. Hannah is a national security. Hannah is she's a national security, and then she also does a lot with foreign policy. So she did not apprenticeships, but she did like fellowships that like handle foreign policy stuff, handle the national security stuff, and then it just helps her like learn and really get that niche topic where she can go from LD on the Capitol Hill to National Security Council at the White House, to where she is. I mean, don't even have to explain. I mean, come on, she's really good at what she does. Yeah. So there's a lot of people like that. You hone in, learn your subjects. Yeah. And then you just build it up into your career. Yeah. Well, comms is different. Communications is different because, like, you come in as a press assistant. Like for me, I was like, okay, well, I know a lot about digital. I know a lot about Canva. I know a lot about like creating clips, right, and making tweets. Like, but then you get up into like your press sec roles, your comms director roles. Then it's like, okay, well, you got to learn like, everybody knows how to write, correct? But like, it's like specific it's like learning how to like find your member's voice and find your principal's voice too. That's that's a pretty hard. It takes me a couple weeks to figure that out. Like the offices I've been in, it takes like with Chip, it was a little bit easy because I've known Chip. Yeah. But like some offices, I'm like, I'll keep writing stuff for about a month. It gets shot down because that's not how they talk. Yeah. But I shift my comm strategy towards doing that. Yeah. But like going back to like comms, right? Or going back to like learning how to do comms. You can come in as a good writer. You can come in as a digital person, which is if you're younger, you usually come with those two. But then as you go through the progression of your career, you got to learn how to do like crisis comms. You got to learn how to do what's it called? Talking to reporters. You got to learn how to do and keeping the level of attribution. You got to learn how to do on the record, off the record, or on background.
That's probably important.
It's very important to learn those two aspects. Learn that.
I think that's important in every. If you're going to any professional industry, you probably learn off the record and on the record.
Yeah, you gotta learn that, and then you gotta learn like for me, like I came in as a digital person, and then I'm a decent writer, but that's not my best. That's my weakest what's it called? Bucket, I guess.
Attribute
or whatever. Right? Like if I was a rated player on 2K, that'd be my like
drop that down to
about
like
a
60.
3-star. Yeah, it'd be like a 3-star, whatever, right? Yeah. But like as I've grown in my career, I've learned that I'm very good at the booking and pitching aspect, and then the media relations aspect.
So finding like your niche in this in the overall field.
Yep. Yeah. Like there's some like for example, like I am looking at whatever right now, right? Other jobs. But like I know like if I search this job and it's like, okay, well it's like more of a writing job, I'm like, yeah, I can do it, but it's not. They need somebody. I just personally know they need somebody who can write. Like for example, I would probably not be the best at being a speechwriter, like off the bat, because it takes practice to learn how to speech write for somebody.
Well, I imagine that's incredibly tailored to the person as well. Yeah. Not only are you learning to write like this essay, pretty much, but you have to write it in how they're going to talk about it. Yep. And so it's not only like what am I thinking about, but it's like I have to then change my word. It's almost like translating to a different language of like this doesn't fit them. That would be very hard.
Well, there's some people like I know who are like, they go from, the House really doesn't have speechwriters. The Senate definitely does. But then they go, the Senate people go off of the admin. Then they become speechwriters for, Department of Commerce, Trump himself, Vance. So like they're the way their brain they're still under the umbrella of comms, but they're a different. Their brain functions to be a quick writer and just understand that aspect of like, I got to get this out really quick, and also like speech right and you got to know your topic, you got to know your crowd, you got to know all that kind of stuff. But everybody like knows how to speak. Everybody knows how to like write a speech, but like that's what their niche is. Yeah. So, but then there's people like me who really enjoy the media relations aspect, and then the booking, pitching, like for example, like when I was working in other offices for Chip, I would watch Fox and be like, okay, he's hot on this subject. Let me pitch him to the show producer or booker and be like, hey, or flag a tweet we recently done, or flag something we recently done, and be like, hey, my boss has been I'm watching your show right now. I see you're talking about the border. My boss has done this, this, and this on the border. Do you have any spots for us tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever, or the next day, for us to come on your show and talk about this? So it's like, you got to like know the media landscape. Yeah. And then as a comms person, you can be like, okay, well, this is good enough for him. This is good to go draft. And this is good for him to go on TV to talk about. And then there's also some stuff you got to be like, okay, well, that's like cool. This went off for a bit because it's a topic that we can win on it, but it's like, we'd rather do this one show than this other show than, for example, like CNN, for example, like a lot of Republicans stay away from CNN. I've always liked CNN because doing like a show like Caitlin Collins, for example, who she's difficult, like she asks difficult questions. So she's good at what she does, asking difficult questions. Yes, but many people see that and be like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then some of the best people are like, hey, I want to do that show because not only will it challenge me, it's like, but it like looks good.
Well, you're also getting out to a different
audience. Yeah. So you're having to like reach out to a different audience, and then also like, for example, like Chiff, we did Caitlin Collins a couple of times, and it was like one of those things. Like he was like, I like to do Caitlin because his legal mind. He likes to like answer a question and think about it. Like that's what some people do. Is like like get asked a hard question and then like think about that and then just start speaking it like really instead of getting like asked like little like not like easier questions but like
get a cupcake question
like something like that, like your base questions, right? But like you get them to your like a harder thing, it makes you think, so that like it better gets in more practice. So it's a really good thing to do as a comms person. So that is, I like those two aspects of booking and pitching more, or booking, I'm sorry, media relations and booking and pitching, but I know how to do digital and I know how to do writing, but I mean my strong is not writing. So but I know how to do digital and the three others. So
with digital writing and that stuff, that seems like something AI would have quite a influence on. The fact that you're needing this kind of talking points very quickly and need I don't know. Like, is that not like part of it starting to become now, or is that like kind of, I don't know, or is that kind of like a digital privacy issue? Like kind of as we were talking.
Like doing talking points and all that kind of other stuff?
Yeah, from like AI. Like, because I imagine they have stuff that they don't want out to like the general public of like stuff that they might haven't announced yet or whatever. But like what you're kind of describing is something that it sounds like it would fit in that bucket of like usefulness.
Okay. Yeah, so that I would say for me personally, I use AI to like help with punctuation and grammar, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't like use it for like to write a speech or do talking points or other stuff or write a press release. Right. I would never do that. Yeah. Because I believe if it's coming from me or it's coming from my principal, it needs to be either him or me, and it needs to be professional. Yeah. But I use it for like punctuation and grammar because those are not my strongest aspects at all. Yeah. And that's basically,
I think that's a great use for where it's like, can you kind of fix this to where it's punctuated right, or maybe like tweak wording, whatever, like basic revision element.
Basic revision element, but like for talking points, that those kind of have to come from like, for me, for what I've done, what we've done in the past, right, is the talking points usually help are a combination between comms and ledge. So it is a like I can do talking points by myself, but like if it's a topic like immigration, or it's a topic like national security or pro life, I will go to my pro life staffer or whoever handles the issue area and like, hey, I need talkers on this, and this, and it comes from their like their extensive research to where like they put it on the paper, and I can trust them, and it also aligns with what my boss is thinking because they're in the office too. So that is like I usually love to like collaborate with Ledge and just not, I mean, I could do it by myself, but having your lifeline or having Ledge being like that one the aspect that can help you out and make it to where like, okay, this is what the boss is like currently thinking, and then making it to where like, okay, this is very policy focused, and they know the policy for the office better than as good as a member. So I remember, or as a principal. So that's I usually use it for that aspect of talking points. And for comms, you kind of put the spicy thing in there, like okay, let me put this this. The top line is like something like I would see on a clip go viral. Like that's my thought process. Like, okay, like that's a good soundbite. But then policy is there. Well, this is a good like, for example, like an immigration line or immigration topic. I would write like a top line like, this is something that would catch on to stuff and help me as a comp person be like, hey, he said this line. We can do a bill on it, or we can do a statement or another statement on it. And keep the drum beat going. And then obviously, like if you keep saying that line that you give them, it's gonna catch on, and then other people will start doing it. And then there's your messaging right there, and you're leading messaging.
So it's really about, I mean, you're having advertising like built into their marketing. Oh yeah, like you're just constantly trying to get it. Now, it's like part of your team's function to be like that marketing and like social media, basically, of like, you're just constantly trying to like get their name out there. I mean, like through basically everyone on the team.
All brand building, really. That's really what it is, and it goes back to the when I was at Clemson doing the social media strategy stuff, the social media internship, like that is I attribute a lot of my my thought process to that internship because it was not something in politics, but it taught like Chaz Williams, Hillary Smith, all them at Clemson right now. They're still there. Like they taught me a very important aspect I'll keep in my career is that Clemson's a school, but it's also a brand. It is also a massive national or international brand that people recognize. People recognize the Paul. How do we maintain this brand, and how do we keep building this brand? And how do we build it on social media? How do we build it through like stuff like like for example, we did like a Spotify account when I was there. Like how do we keep building the brand and like and keeping a level of professionalism as we continue to like grow as an institution. So it was I attribute a lot of my thought process like, okay, that's how we build, there's a brand there now, right? But then we have to keep building it up, and we have to use the channels available to build those up. Like for example, Clemson's was Instagram. They're big Instagram. They do a lot of stuff on like here's the thing. I gotta go. I guess this is an important aspect too. So Instagram is mostly used for your like prospective students. What is our generation on, and what is Gen Alpha on? They're on Instagram. So they put a lot of like effort into their Instagram because they're at the end of the day they're trying to get students to come to the university. Facebook is more like your like more tightened up professional stuff. Same with LinkedIn. So it's like Facebook and LinkedIn
is extremely professional.
LinkedIn's extremely professional, but like
that is AI generated content.
Exactly. Here's what I learned about back B2B sales. But like Facebook and LinkedIn are kind of tied hand in hand. Like your more professional type stuff and stuff that your parents would look at. Twitter is like your most like Twitter's a different beast. Twitter is something else. But like if you're Yeah, X. I'm sorry. I'm still going to call it Twitter. But like, you would sit there and be like, okay, like this is we're gonna really focus on our Instagram and really focus on TikTok because we're a university and who's our audience? It's TikTok. It's prospective students. So stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm in politics, so I use Instagram for like most like not official announcements, but like your like. Stuff that wouldn't fly on Twitter, like you're more like constituent driven because it's it's like a community platform. Yeah. It's more like come meet me at like a town hall meeting. I have a town hall or teletown hall. I got this. I'm doing this in the district. That type of stuff. Like that's the type of stuff that like you can do you mostly target for on Facebook. That type of content, and then Twitter is your fiery type stuff, right? Because everybody on Twitter, but
so Twitter would be like more controversial.
Twitter's more controversial,
like you're posting kind of like the hot takes or whatever. To really I imagine that drives interaction either way. Yeah, you know. So then, like, what would Instagram basically be used for the same thing as like Facebook though, or like
Instagram? I've always thought of its own thing.
Oh, okay. Right,
I've always thought of like. Instagram is more like back in the day. Instagram was driven by hashtags. Now that's gone. Instagram is mostly driven by reels. So what I've seen a lot of members do, and there's people like Annapolis and Luna. There's people like Tim Moore, Chip Roy himself too, and when we're in that office, and the members of Congress who have really started doing putting their floor speeches, putting their news hits, putting their stuff on Instagram. Yeah, and putting it as reels because Instagram is driven by reels now. Yeah, so it's more like it's that type of content is
so it's more like video based.
It's a more video based type platform.
Like Facebook's really going to be like just your official post,
like pictures.
It's going to be like presenting at something or like.
Presenting a
kind of like a LinkedIn post, basically. Yeah. Like that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So that's like not even just in politics, it's in business in general. Yeah. It's like that's what they use social media for. And I've studied this for years, being either in Turning Point, Clemson, or wherever I've been, independent contractor for a couple of an organization. Yeah. A couple of years ago, and then a couple of months ago. But like you just learn that type of stuff. And to the point where it just becomes second nature. Like, okay, well, this post, I need to post this, like...
Fits over there.
Yeah, this stuff over here. And then put my fiery stuff and more controversial stuff on Twitter. And also, you also do post, like, your constituent more, or your more, like, non-controversial stuff on Twitter, too. Just because it's there. Just to have it. Yeah. But then you post, again, you use Twitter for Instagram for your main messaging avenues. If you're going to post, like, if you're going to, really, get your content out there.
What's your schedule? Because my favorite thing to do is text you at when I get up. Yeah. And then normally you'll respond pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, guess you're up.
So
how's your day look?
So I usually wake up about 4:30 or 5. I usually wake up about that time, pray, think in my head, all that kind of other stuff at that time, and then go to the gym about 5:36. That's what I'm more responsive in the mornings than I am in the middle of the day because
I'll figure that out.
My problem is I will see a text and I mentally reply to it. I don't reply. That's my biggest. I have I can check my phone right now. I have 665 missed texts right now. Yeah. And some of them are important. I just don't. But it's it's not because I'm not missing text because I don't like you. Yeah. I'm missing them because I mentally reply to that text. I think I reply, and then I just don't reply. And I go back a couple of days later, and I'm just having downtime. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I didn't reply to this person. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. I genuinely don't mean it. Yeah. At all. It's just also with my phone being my work phone basically. I just get sidetracked by other stuff. Yeah. So it just so happens, but I would get into the office about 9. It just really depends because Capitol Hill was just so different. It's a 24/7 job, really. Yeah. So it was, about 9 to 6. Yeah. 9 to 6, but if you're working for a busy member, you're there constantly on the phone. and doing stuff like talking to reporters like off the record until like you can just you text them anytime and just keep talking. But like you just keep working and you just get under that mindset of this is a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
You know what you're signed up for.
Yeah.
And it's just that's the nature of the game.
Yeah, is that just kind of like part of it until you get like this just is what the whole business is of like it's a 24/7. Because you have a 24/7 news cycle. Yeah, basically.
So it's different because it's like under Biden it was 24/7 too, but the Trump again like Trump changes everything to where like
if you get a tweet at 1 a.m.
Yeah, if you get a tweet at 1 a.m. it's gonna be leading the news the next day, the entire day. So like, but they lead. It's harder to do like more newsy stuff because like Trump is just so much in the news that it like sucks everything else out, and that's because whether it's just because it's just a heavily covered White House, and then Trump is a heavily covered president, more than we've ever probably seen in our lifetimes yet. Yeah. So that's just it's a different ballgame when Trump's in the White House than any other than the Biden administration and the Obama administrations. It's just they cover him so much. Yeah. It's just the nature of the game, and he's a very like out there like he's very outspoken. He's a very outspoken president. He's doing a good job. So if you're Fox or whatever, right, you're just gonna mostly be covering that, and then if you're CNN, you're gonna cover whatever, right? Yeah. So that it's just the nature of the beast. It really is just the nature of the beast and who's in the White House.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I think his presence of being so polarizing is really makes it, I don't know, it seems like kind of easy for the major news channels to just like pick it up and be like, talk about anything he does. Yeah. What good, bad, whatever else. Yeah. So I imagine that would then make y'all's job like a lot more stressful
because it's a different. It changes your. I mean, we've talked about this as communicators. I mean, it changes like Trump on the White House changes your comms plan. Yeah. It's like more. You're mostly like with him in the White House. You're mostly championing. You're following their lead basically. Yeah. As the sitting member of as the sitting president, with the party in charge.
That's.
Yeah, like you're also doing your own messaging, but at the same time. You're kind of following the.
You can't like go too far outside of the like.
Yeah, kind of something like that. Yeah, there's some people who do, but like you're mostly like you obviously don't want to attack the president at all, right? You just don't do that. It's just stupid for anybody. But like you're mostly staying within like. You're mostly championing the policies, basically, which we mean you got to do that anyways. But like when you're when the opposing party is in the White House, you're reacting to what they're doing, and you're reacting to their agencies, and you're reacting to all that kind of. So the Democrats the same. The Democrats operate the same way. Like they operate where they're attacking Trump
for everything,
and then they attack him for like the weather in the sky, the weather and everything. But like they attack for the agency actions. They attack the White House for yada yada yada. Yeah, and the flip flops to Democrat or flip flops from Republicans to Democrats. Whenever who's in charge.
Just whoever's
whoever's in charge. And you're as a comms person, you're reacting like, okay, the Biden administration did a stupid action on economics, or they closed a pipeline, or they did something that will affect millions of people.
So then you're just trying to it's either basically like you're like aligning with what they're saying, or you're trying to react and like draw in kind of the audience from if it's the opposite side.
Yeah, but you're also at the same time not only just aligning with the president, but you're also championing your own policies too. Like for example, like if you put out a bill that like codifies an executive order that Trump is doing, you're going to obviously message that bill because it follows the president's actions. Yeah. Like for example, Chip had a bill on pulling the what's it called? Pulling the United States out of the United Nations. Chip has a bill. He had a bill about that. He introduced a bill on it. So we kept messaging like, "Hey, the administration did this. We have a bill in this to codify the action." Yeah. So that is stuff like obviously you're following the lead of the president, but you're also championing your own policy victories as well.
Yeah. Huh. It's an interesting thing. Is that so? Like with all of this, though, is the like main goal to be like in crisis, like crisis comms? Is that or like what's like the I don't know, like dream or like the top spot you'd want to be at? Like, what's the like main goal? Like,
so eventually, I think I've told you this in Keely before. I eventually do want to move back to South Carolina. I just I love Texas.
Yeah.
I feel that my home is here.
Yeah.
Every single time I'm in South Carolina, I just forget about the world. It's a great place to live, the Palmetto State.
Yeah.
Just being at Clemson, you just kind of just fell in love with the place, man.
Yeah.
But I eventually want to have my own comms business.
Yeah.
Which I did, but I now work. We're now doing some other things. But like eventually want to keep perfecting my craft. And then build my own business to where I can live wherever I want. I work remote for an agency or whatever, or a PR firm or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And just be able to like live wherever I want and live in South Carolina. So that's like the old White House comms would be fun. But I mean, that'd be a lot of fun. I would do that. But the ultimate goal would be to live in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Eventually, like come down here, raise my family here. And just live over here. Texas, I love Texas.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It just doesn't feel the same way that I
did when you were like
there. Did when I was a kid. Yeah. I love my home state. If I had to live there again, I would.
Yeah.
But like it's just a different like all my family is like still there. But like I love South Carolina a lot more. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of travel to where you've now grown. I think you've got to see quite a few places. So I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be a good place. I do think it's interesting. Like having your own comms company seems like that would be. Would like the main thing though be like politics? Like is politics basically where that like comms thrives of like everything for like what you're doing, or is there like I know like sports radio is its own thing, but does that like they translate across, or like going into like if you go into industry of politics, do you flip to I don't know business or whatever?
So here's my so I know a couple people who have done a very good job. There's a lot of people in politics have transferred themselves into like the business world. Like they go run, they're comms director on the Hill, then they go run like communications for Spotify. Like it's the things you learn on Capitol Hill and learn in politics will translate anywhere. How to do crisis comms, how to do a press release, how to do booking and pitching. Like that translates. So the thing is like we're having your own company. You could dabble in politics too. But then also dabble in sports and dabble in business. I guess there's a guy I met recently, Bill O'Reilly, right? Not the Bill O'Reilly, the guy on Fox, but Bill O'Reilly. He has his own comms company, and like he has several clients. Yeah. Some of them in politics, but some of them are just like national organizations or companies, like actual not involved politically. Yeah, like that he does consulting for and helps them out. Like that aspect, because going back to what was the premise of the question is, yes, it translates, and a lot of from what I've heard from people who have made the transition, is a lot of employers do like when somebody comes from politics because they understand how to like do crisis comms. They understand how to do like the hard stuff in comms. Like for example, like you mentioned crisis. You mentioned like how do you want to learn crisis comms, right? Like it's something you never really want to plan for. It's something you really never want to do, right?
It wouldn't be a crisis if you planned.
Yeah, you just want to like be in crisis all the time. Yeah. But the best thing I've learned in my career so far is always have a plan. Yeah. And crisis comms is like, for example, like last year in the Chip Roy office, I went from doing crisis comms. I mean, a couple months I was doing crisis comms because of the One Big Beautiful Bill, right? Getting that thing passed. Yeah. And then you immediately shift into crisis comms from, in the DC world where you're dealing with like legislative stuff and policy stuff or in, like messaging wars. But then you shift immediately, like within a day or two, to doing crisis comms from the flooding situation in Texas, to where you had loss of life, you had a national like crisis that actually like affects people in the community.
Yeah.
So you have to shift your plan to like, okay, I have to deal with this reporter, yada yada, I did this story exclusive on bail, right? To like, I have to like make sure to set up this plan to where like we're mostly focusing on constituent relations at this point.
Yeah.
And getting my boss out there to be the like leading messenger and give people hope.
Yeah.
And go talk about to the world like, hey, this is what happened in my community. It's deeply devastating what happened, and it really was. It was one of the harshest tragedies in Texas has seen in a long time. But like, you shift your common mindset to that, and you're like, okay, well, like, get him on the national news, get him on the local news for him to talk about it, and to get the message of like, people are looking for hope, people are looking for somebody in that time to like look towards, and you want your boss to come, not just go speak out about anything, obviously, but like to talk, for him to go on TV or whatever and talk about the facts. Like, this is what's going on now. This is what happened. These shelters are in place right now. There's a fundraiser happening for the families at this bar. They're happening at this local joint. Yeah, like stuff like that. Get the messaging out. Yeah, people like, okay, this is where we need to donate. This is where we need to just it's more constituent relations of that. Which the whole job is constituent relations, but like in a time of crisis, it's more so like you gotta like times it by 5. Yeah, times it by 10. Yeah. So, yeah.
Now, you did say South Carolina was the best state. However, from our sources, we heard that you really like New York. So, so just curious on, I think New York's pretty cool, but living there, I just don't ever. Would you live in New York? Like, if you had to pick one or the other, would you pick like New York, South Carolina, Texas?
Oh, I'd pick South Carolina. I mean, the New York is. I mean,
what did you like most about New York?
I like the business aspect of it. I like the like
everything's going constantly.
Everything's going constantly. Yeah. I like that. It's a town that is literally 24/7. Yeah. And you never know who you're going to sit next to. You never know who you're going to like work with. And then New York is a very like high performing place, right? Yeah. But South Carolina, I love just to live in South Carolina. I like it a lot more. Yeah. Because New York, you have to make some sacrifices. Like you have no car most of the time. Yeah. Living in the city, you have no car.
You have no car.
You can't just drive to a grocery store.
You can't, but you can walk everywhere.
You can walk everywhere. It's great. I love walking.
Subway also, or you could do the little e-bikes.
E-bikes, yeah. You can do that, but just the quality of living, you can't beat Texas or South Carolina.
Yeah, I would agree with that. New York, when we went, it really made me feel like the Taylor Swift song.
Oh, really? Welcome to New York?
Yeah, New York. Like, I didn't think it would be so relatable, but I was like, wow, it does really feel like...
It's an awesome town. It's an awesome town, seriously. Like, it's a great town. And, eventually I do think I want to, like, try it. Yeah. But, like, I don't know. It's just, like, DC is like where I live now, and I like living.
DC would also be interesting to like be in it, because I feel like it'd be very still hustle and like bustle almost. Yeah.
See, the thing with DC is you have DC, the District of Columbia proper. Yeah. And you have Arlington, Virginia, and you have Alexandrias. So it like once you get out of DC proper, you're not. It feels like It kind of feels like South Carolina.
You're just more like suburbs, I would imagine. Yeah.
More suburbs. Yeah. Houses, greenery, stuff like that. So it's like strip malls, good local places, good food restaurants. So it's a pretty. That's why I like living in Arlington better than living in DC. Yeah, is that like it feels like South Carolina there, and it feels like home. Yeah. So
I'll say New York was the coolest. I would go there for like a couple of weeks in like Christmas time. I would go there again if I could get like a cool somewhere to stay for like a week or two. But outside of that, I think personally, it'd be like, after a while, I just feel like it'd be stimulating. Way too much stimulant
of New York.
Yeah, because it just constantly felt like, man, we should be doing something. Like, anytime.
That's kind of a cool part of New York. Yeah. Okay, we should be doing something. Like, there's so much stuff to do here. But then, like, South Carolina is just a different pace of life, literally. So that's the end up goal here, is end up moving back to South Carolina. I don't know when that will be.
Yeah.
But I do love South Carolina.
Don't have to right now.
Don't have to right now. But Texas, again, like, I love Texas, but I'm like, I feel like my chapter is, maybe God had different plans. But, like, I feel like my chapter in Texas is done. I feel like I feel it's just a different feel when I go back.
No, you just need to get like a condo in both places.
Yeah, just you make enough money where I could just have a house in Jocassee and a house in Houston.
Yeah, no biggie. No biggie. Then you get a house in DC if you're really feeling it.
Oh yeah, man.
You'd have to be really feeling it to get a house there. Golly. I want to talk about an unaffordable market.
Yeah, I was talking about that with somebody. That's a good topic, is the growth of Greenville. Because I mean, you're from here. Yeah. So, and you and Keely are from here. Greenville 7 years ago is different than Greenville now.
Yeah.
So how do you like see Greenville like continuing at this? Because I mean, the infrastructure is not for the amount of people here. Yeah.
I think it's a very challenging time. So the city of Greenville itself is pretty much the magnitude of like where growth came from, along with the BMW plant that was like Spartanburg. So like you had all of that compounding, and then you had the X factor of you had Mayor Knox White, who came in the late '90s. He came in and made innovative changes to really make the downtown Greenville a thriving place versus it was like dead for years. That's when you saw it just kind of all connect and really go up. But that now you're really compounding on these economic factors. And you're having people drawn in because you have jobs and you have all of this. And let's spend their money down here. So you're going up. But now you're hitting this peak of, all right, you kind of didn't exactly put in the infrastructure you would need for this amount of growth. Because you were we need growth. So you were, take off the guardrails. And, it's worked. But now you have a mayor who's led for the past 30 years who's going to retire. You have a new planning commission. You have new members. You have planning commission is the wrong word. New members of councilmen. You have new councilmen coming in who now weren't there when Greenville was down here, but have only seen it kind of thrive
at the peak, or something.
You might probably have a little bit of intermingling still. Of some have seen it, some didn't. So you're dealing with a whole new brand of political power. Yeah. So far, planning wise, they've been heavily invested in their planning department, which is looking long range. But now you're going to hit a point of, does this political alignment align with what your planning staff does, and whatever your new heads of departments are wanting. And that's where it gets challenging for a city of how do you coincide all these factors to now you have to deal with homelessness, which is a very big problem in Greenville, and starting to grow in Greenville along with everywhere else. You have housing costs that are rising pretty exponentially. I mean, to the point where you're competing with pretty cities above its weight class on when you're looking at rent prices and housing prices. Because if you want to go live downtown, you're going to be paying like $2,000 plus for an apartment.
It's like pick what I'm paying in Arlington, basically. Yeah, I can live in downtown Greenville. So
and so I mean that's a pretty high price for
Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina, where you have a population of 70,000-ish. For downtown, and versus Arlington's probably
it's a
DMV is 100,000. I mean
230,
something like that. So as a county, then you also have all of those people where flooding into downtown Greenville constantly. So I think it's going to be a very big. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for them to keep going exponentially. I think there's a very good chance you see a slight dip and then an uphill. Because I think you're just going to have to combat with, all right, how do we actually start building these houses and getting everyone on board? I think that's number one of you need housing infrastructure, like anywhere across the U.S. And how can you get the city and county working together on that? Because this needs to be the tide raises all boats, not having, the city's not going to thrive if the guys, Because city only has so much space that it's actually like can do stuff on. So I don't know. It's just gonna be a mess of like. I hope it goes well and it goes smoothly, but you just don't know. There's a lot of factors that you're dealing with, and
the problem for Greenville is like the worst kept secret now, because for years it was like, oh, nobody knew, it's just a gem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like
you throw on 15 years of national awards, and all of a sudden now
everybody knows about it. It's just gonna keep, because you go by Woodruff Road. I mean, like, you can't even move on Woodruff for like a couple minutes, right?
Well, Woodruff Road was the worst planned thing ever, because they literally got told don't do that, of putting literally every single, like, all right, McDonald's, Burger King, Joy or whatever, some other fast food chain, Costco, Target. You put everything literally in a strip with no dividers or breakings or anything. You had a mess that was like destined to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you could see it before it, but they're like, nah. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. But
if you don't do it, do you get economic growth in the area? Maybe not.
Maybe not. No, because Woodruff Road is basically kind of like a moneymaker for the entire county or the entire city, basically.
And that's where you run into. I mean, that's where the challenge is of like, where do you just kind of go like, when
it can't expand further than it is right now, if we're being honest. Because I mean, downtown Greenville's here. And then you start getting off in your Easleys and your Travelers Rest and your Spartanburg, or your Fountain Inn, and there's nowhere else to go, because this area is just not built for.
Well, that's where you run into the infrastructure problem of you don't have sewer lines going like all the way out there. So you're putting it on, you're limited to septic, and that's going to limit the number of units you can have. And also, they're trying to. You really don't want septic just sprawling throughout the county. So you have to either, I don't know, you don't really want to put, I do not like development moratoriums at all, personally. I was like, you should never stop developing. Because to me, if you stop, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because you try to get the train going again, it's a challenge. So I don't think I wouldn't think that's a good idea. But I think you just need to find how can you either build incentives for developers that really make this worth it? Of you need this, they can do it, but your prices are going skyrocketing.
Yeah,
land prices are no longer $10 and a high five. Like, we're past that point.
Yeah.
So your incentives have to align with the understanding that costs are now up here. We're not thinking down here anymore. So that's something a lot of places are going to have to do, and I think also greater emphasis on those kind of getting to the nodes of you have TR, you hit Cherrydale, kind of underdeveloped. You have a lot of lots that are underutilized. Where can you infill and kind of bring it up to where you're drawing more people kind of around the area? And then when you have going, Easley is a good spot. I think Easley's getting growth now, though.
Easily, compared to what it was 7 years when I first got here, Easley's really getting up there.
Problem with Easley, though, is you have a limited planning department. You have a limited staff. You have a lot of development coming in here that's kind of like not necessarily the best. Like putting just warehouses right off of 123 is not your best use of that space, probably. Like where the little track used to be. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, Greenville.
The Greenville, and so it's like, was that really your best use of those acres? Or like, could you develop like some mixed use community in there that now you're housing, 300 something residents or whatever? So it's just things like that of where you're not having this regional coordination, which is a problem.
Yeah.
To me. And that's a problem where you go to a lot of places, because
the one who's really getting affected by that is Charleston.
Yeah, but Charleston makes so much money that they can just do whatever they want.
But the people we know this, like being you're in South Carolina. I don't live here, but like I guess we grew up here basically. For 4 years for me, lifetime for you. But like the people we know in Charleston will attest that Charleston is not what it used to be in terms of like population wise, and that's really like it takes. But people say takes 2 hours to get to the beach. Yeah. And back then it took like maybe 30 minutes. Maybe they were quick. It was very quick. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think the charm of Charleston though is that it's that coastal city. You have so much stuff like still around it that you can go to of like other beaches. and yeah,
Dirty Myrtle.
Go to the Myrtle. But then you can go to like, they can kind of just get up and down and use Charleston as like a hub of like, if I want to go in and go to like the main stores or whatever, and go there. So I think it just kind of always has that draw of it being there, and also historically, just I don't know, there's a lot of presence to it of like
Charleston,
yeah. So I think that gives itself enough foundation to like kind of hold its footing on, pretty much forever. Of that, like we're a coastal historical city with landmark, everything you want. So you just kind of have all those factors. I mean, but then you have like Columbia, where it's like no one really wants to go to Columbia. Like you don't have much going on there outside of like the State House, like
just the University of like South Carolina, and then
but
the State House,
whatever. Whatever. That other school,
the one that the kids that can't get into Clemson.
Yeah, but that's what they say. So I don't know. I think that you really need to come to the table and develop a regional coordination between Pickens, Greenville, and Spartanburg counties. Anderson would also need to be in there. Like, how do we develop a vision for the future of where we can make all of this happen, and an understanding of like giving your flowers to Greenville, but like Greenville, you can't hold
this many people in it.
Yeah, like.
Well, because Pickens has their own problem right now with Clemson. And, you know, I was telling before we started the pod, like, I went to the George Strait concert last night.
Yeah.
And it was, first of all, Death Valley is an awesome.
Great experience.
Great concert venue, right? Like, it's like it had the Beatles or in the Stones there, like back in the day. So it's a great venue. The problem with that night, and the problem that they're going to have with Morgan Wallen next month, is that getting out of there. And we can attest to this to Clemson game days, right? Yeah. Because for game day, we know the drill with game days. It's a noon kick, right? You wait 2 hours, you go to the bars after the game for 2 hours, traffic's basically done at that point.
Yeah.
Or you go to, it's a night game, you're going to go out to the bar at 11 o'clock, wait till it dies down and go home.
Yeah.
But for this, it was like, okay, well, everybody couldn't move.
Yeah,
everybody couldn't move. Everybody stayed out.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and there was also 10,000 more people in the area than there are for game days. That's 10,000 more cars.
Yeah.
So it's like it was just my friend said the same thing about Savannah Bananas when they were in Clemson.
Oh, you just couldn't get out.
You couldn't get out because it was like there's just too many people in the area. So and then like even with Tiger Boulevard, it's just one street.
Yeah.
And then downtown Clemson, that's just one, basically, that's not big enough. You can't put a 4-lane thing there.
Yeah. So
they're going to run into a lot of problems having these like big events there.
It's definitely testing them.
It's testing.
The fact that like they've spent millions of dollars to expand and do road widenings. And I don't know if it's not working.
Well, you still can't get out of what's it called? I mean, Perimeter Road. You still can't get out of it. I mean,
Perimeter sucked.
Perimeter sucked first couple of years over there.
It's always been bad. You get to the stop sign and you're just cooked.
Yeah, by the walk course.
Yeah,
it was bad. But I mean, I left. I think you were still there. They opened up the 4 lanes. I mean, maybe it made a difference.
I don't know.
But like at the same time, I'm like, there's just too many people in. There's too many people at Clemson now.
Yeah.
To where like it's always going to be a nightmare. And Clemson's just not, I guess, planning wise, historically wise, whatever. Right. It's just not meant for this many students. It's not meant for this many people in Clemson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have student housing projects that also some problem. Student parking is a problem.
Student problem still is a problem.
They're building a parking garage, but I don't really think that's going to solve. I mean, as soon as they probably build it, they're just going to admit more people, so it's just like net negative still.
Well, we keep saying. I mean, somebody put out somebody said something the other day. It was like Clemson's population or Clemson's student body has grown 11,000 in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, those are 11,000 more student housing. There's 11,000 more dorm rooms. I'm like, well, the dorm. I mean, they're building a new Douthy right now.
Yeah.
But like, that's at least like what 1,000 kids right there.
Yeah.
Outside of, I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think you got overwhelmed by success. I think that defines the upstate pretty well. Is that it's been overwhelmingly successful, which is a lot better than being underwhelming. Losing a population. So it's now just like, all right, kind of have to put thinking cap on, and how can we
develop this for the next 60 years?
Yeah. What does this look like? Because not only do you have to plan on how can we mitigate these problems now, but your goal is really to keep it going up.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't ever want to plateau or go down.
Well, the success of Clemson football, I mean, played a huge part in the growth of the upstate South Carolina, too.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, big time. I mean, because whenever Greenville was getting all these awards for being one of the best like mid-sized cities in the country, right?
Yeah.
Clemson football started to get football team just started being like really, really good. And then here we are with a problem where, Clemson's national name, I mean, it always has been, but like not to the point where like, okay, well, Clemson's like that. But like,
you got to give Dabo some flowers for bringing economic development.
He's a top paid state employee in the state, man. But like, what's it called? Like, I mean, the success of Clemson football did definitely played a massive part in the success of the upstate. Yeah. So.
That's very true. Once again, this is why I think regional coordination is the biggest problem. Because Clemson's not it's not like an isolated place outside of the city. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're talking like a 40-minute drive. It's not, it's not this like, it's all the way down the coast. Yeah. It's not like Charleston, Yeah. That's like Charleston's. Charleston's its own body, not dealing with Columbia, own thing. But when you just kind of look across the board, it's like within an hour radius, dude, you got a lot of. Spartanburg is its own thing too, where you're trying to fix it up. They're trying to do things.
The Spartanburg,
city of Spartanburg, yeah.
But Clemson, the draw with Clemson is so, like that's what has made me and a lot of people fall in love with it. Mm-hmm. Is that you're 2 hours from Atlanta, 2 hours from Charlotte, 1 hour from Greenville, about 2 hours away from Columbia. Mm-hmm. And then what 4 from Columbia from Charleston. So like you have 4. You have Charleston, you have Atlanta, you have Charlotte, you have technically Knoxville too.
Knoxville's probably about 5, I would think.
Knoxville?
Yeah,
about 3.
About 3.
Nashville's 5 from Clemson.
Oh yeah.
Nashville. I mean, you have Nashville too if you want to take a drive.
If you want to really go.
But I mean, it's just the area of Clemson. It's like you're getting the best of both worlds here. Like you have a great middle, quote unquote mid-sized city in Greenville.
Yeah.
You have 2 major markets. You have Charlotte and you have Atlanta, and then you have Charleston. And you have Columbia.
Yeah.
So you're just getting you're in a very good location. Mm-hmm. So
I don't know. You also have nature. You have city life. You have like every blend of things that you would want. You get some of it. I don't know. I think it's clearly a top place.
Yeah. I mean, we went there. Yeah. So we were just it's like advertising for Clemson. Yeah. But like, you're just getting the best of both worlds.
I don't know. You got lakes nearby. Like the amount of natural features you have.
Yeah.
Like the natural assets that are around.
The hills are tough. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. They're just going to figure. They're going to fit though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be a lot. Knowing what I can see, it's going to be a lot worse in like 10 years.
I
just don't think they have the infrastructure to handle the amount of people coming to Clemson from the north. Because I mean, like the top state I think are like North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So and Virginia's up there too, but it's more so New York.
A lot of New Jersey.
A lot of New. I mean, you see a New Jersey play anywhere in Clemson. Yeah. So like, but those people are moving, or those kids are moving down here,
and the parents are moving down here now.
The parents are moving down here, so I mean, they're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Or either whatever ensemble force meets movable object, and Clemson is the movable, I guess, in the movable object here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that the infrastructure things is going to be a challenge. I mean, I think that's where how can you build out more kind of nodes or central areas for people to get drawn to? Because the infrastructure is going to be there's only so much you can widen a road and it's useful.
Yeah.
And there's only so much land you have before you have to try to
either permits for the land too.
Yeah, you got to permit it. You're not getting eminent domain in South Carolina ever. So that's out the window. So unless you own the right of way, you can't really do much with it.
Well, not to mention Clemson's, I think, very rare. It's like it's a land grant, right? So I mean, you have to go through legal hoops anyways to get anything from the university.
You're gonna deal with that. So I think, how do you build some? I think you really need like these mixed use communities that people are drawn to take off of like this major spot. And I don't think they need to be major cities, but how can you make these like major,
like smaller towns
or small like community kind of feels of where you have like an active storefronts and you're having like bars and coffee shops and place to shop, go get groceries.
Yeah.
How do you make this kind of like a livable community essentially?
It's like a build a community.
Yeah, where like you can have people that would actually want to go there, and that way you're kind of hopefully spreading out some of those costs to other areas. But
see, that's the thing that my cousin in Gaithersburg, Bobby, Bobby, that's his vision with Orange, Virginia.
Yeah,
because he recently moved to either have two houses, so they're about to sell the Gaithersburg one. But they moved to Orange, Virginia. They bought a beautiful property down there.
Yeah.
But Orange is a town that's about to get a Amtrak station, I think. Oh. And then they're like, it's a more long-term game, and he's getting more involved in like, the local town stuff, and get the restaurant. He's in the hospitality restaurant business.
Okay.
So his thought of moving to Orange business-wise is building something like, being able to like be there as an institution in a town that's really growing. Getting more numbers there. So that's like going back to South Carolina. Like you find these small pockets in South Carolina. Like you can find a small town in the upstate. Yeah. But then like you see a lot of potential with it. It has a lot of land. It could become give it 20, 25 years. It's a pretty It's a community with
city.
It's a little city with a school. It's got everything like that, right? So it's like you can get there early, put your roots down, and then you already have a community.
Yeah. I think
that's a community out there.
Amtrak's an interesting thing to like be centered on, because you can make like I don't know, it'd be tough. It depends on how many people you're really getting in and out of there, because Amtrak is hit or miss basically by stop. But if you had like a transit oriented development, which would be based on like the Amtrak, and you had like a bus system or something that could take, I don't know, it's by whatever. In Virginia, I don't know what it'd be by.
I mean, there's Virginia. I think it's either the Amtrak or Virginia Railroad Express. But I mean, one of them. I think either both or one of them is getting a stop there, which is pretty. I mean, it's pretty big. Yeah.
But either way, if you can make it to where like you have pretty much, you don't need a car every single day. You can walk around a community. You can then take either a public bus or you can take Amtrak to somewhere else. That's just limiting if you can reduce how many cars the household actually needs, then that changes like the game completely. Because if you're just like a 1-car household, it's very different than 2 people driving every single day or 2+ people driving every single day.
But there's communities like Fountain Inn, right? That's like, I guess I don't know if TR is like this too, but Fountain Inn, especially when I was there, or I've been there for the past like couple times. Like that's a community that people drive around their golf carts. So it becomes one of those. Like you live in the community, right? But you can go downtown in the golf cart and go eat dinner and drive back. Yeah. So you don't even need to use your car.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, imagine a golf cart making golf cart parking versus like making full size car spots. Yeah. You can fit a whole lot more golf carts somewhere than you can cars. Yeah. It's also, wear and tear on roads goes down. Because you're not having every single person driving. But I don't know. It also just comes down to, you have to align so many factors to make any of this possible. And you have to get political. You have to get investment. You have to get people that can build it. Yeah. You have to think through the vision of it, of what can this look like if it's fully blown out. I don't know. It's such a complicated process.
Yeah. It's something that I'm going to leave to like the people who do that stuff. Like I'm going to leave it to them. But I mean, just living being in the upstate, I'm like, this place it's great. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to keep growing. But it's like, how do we make this grow to where it doesn't affect the living here, basically, right? And then like how do they basically affect the living here? Yeah. And make it to where it doesn't cost as much as you would be paying in Atlanta to live here. which is ridiculous. This Greenville, South Carolina should never be as much as Atlanta or a major city in America.
Yeah, you're not living in downtown New York, or you're not living in you're living in Greenville.
Like Greenville, South Carolina should never reach the prices of like a Manhattan apartment. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
to me.
I don't think that might have been a little exaggeration, but it definitely is a Charlotte. Like if you moved to Charlotte, it'll probably cost about the same. Like if you want to be downtown, but yeah, I think that's the number one goal is how do you keep the community as it is of this like
Southern hospitality
feeling of like your small town, you're able to go to where you want to. I don't think waiting's just going to be part of way of life now. It's how it goes. You're not going to eliminate weight, but how do you minimize that? And how do you make it to where I don't know, you just kind of spreading it out some. I don't think you should have a sprawling like 1 acre, one house build. Yeah. I don't mean that by any means, but how do you spread like these kind of nodes different areas? And that way you don't run into like, you don't want to create an Atlanta where you're just like
the Buckhead North or whatever.
Yeah, and you just got McMansion on like an acre, and then you have like McMansion, and then it's just like, you don't want that. That's not ideal for anyone. So you don't just want running development loosely. Yeah. But you do need development in other places. You can't avoid it. If you want housing costs to go down, you need more supply. Yeah. So, pretty simple formula.
Pretty simple formula, yeah.
I mean, like I'm not breaking any news here on ideas. But, so, I mean, that's where to me, it's regional coordination and stuff. Simple. If you get everyone at the table and we can talk through this, seems like we could get some ideas on like what this could look like. But that is a much higher up conversation that I'm not invited to.
You should probably get somebody who's in like one of your friends who's in regional planning or something like real estate that do talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where you run into problems though, because you have regional coordination agencies, but they have no authority over the region. Yeah, the region. So you're not like, even though you're advising, well, that's what you're doing is advising. Yeah. You're not making action. So even though you have these organizations and agencies that can be like, hey, we should talk about this. That is the scope. Like, let's talk about it. But at the end of the day is, city has to deal with their own infrastructure. They have to deal with the current infrastructure, what's breaking. They have to deal with their own costs, whatever that is. So it's tricky. It's not I'm making this sound a lot simpler than it is, but it's, you can't really worry about the whole area until you're dealing with, your house should be tidy before you go, build more houses, judging others, whatever the saying is. So it's not as simple as I'm saying, but at the end of the day, it does seem like a starting point of a conversation that, I don't know, it doesn't seem clear to the public that could be happening behind closed doors. Who knows? As you kind of talked about, this conversation's on the record and off the record. Yeah. This is probably one of the conversations I'll be off the record until it's like...
We got a deal set in place, or we have a plan set in place for the next like 20 years, 30 years of Greenville. So
I don't know. I'm hoping it stays a cool place, and hopefully...
I think it will.
For the rest of the time, it's a cool place. That is my hope.
You guys are not looking to move anywhere else but Greenville, right?
I'll probably go to Travelers Rest, but it would stay in Greenville, like the county of Greenville. TR is just where would be. It's where family is.
Family is. You're from there. Keely's from there.
I also like TR
because Madison and Grace. I think they've done the podcast, right?
Yeah, they've both done it.
They've been
Madison hasn't come on yet because she keeps flaking, but she will be.
Well, we can't break news on here yet about something about her. No. But no, I'll let her come on the podcast and do that. Yeah. But no, like they're all up in Travelers Rest, correct? Yeah. Yeah. So you're close by are your closest friends. Yeah. And then it's also a big aspect of having your eventual kids, to like be in the area of your closest friends, though.
Yeah, I'll say that's a very big part for us is having them nearby. I don't know. I think it's important to have my parents there, and Keely's parents, I think, are eventually probably going to move a little bit closer to us because they're in Gaffney right now. But I think they're planning to eventually come more towards us. But I just think it's a very important family aspect of that. You need your kids to be around.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yep.
And I think, it's important to them too if they want to be there. So
yeah. So I guess I want to ask this question.
Yeah.
How is because I went to your guys' wedding.
Uh-huh.
How have you guys what have you learned about marriage so far? Is it different than it was
about marriage so
dating
far?
Or is it I'm a single person, so I'm
as a single person.
As a single person,
gosh. What have we learned about marriage so far?
Maybe we went from sports to this time. To Greenville County, fixing Greenville County.
Isn't that the beauty of how this flows?
Beautiful.
I don't think there's not one singular thing that it's pointed to.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of is it should be something that you love to work at.
Mm-hmm.
Of that, this is another human being at the end of the day.
Right.
They're not going to compromise and completely 100% agree with your ideas every single day. They're not, you're not going to be perfect in how you communicate and how you do things. And they're probably going to screw up.
Yeah.
Same as you.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn, I think, grace and can I compromise? And are you really loving that? Is there do you have that joy and that special connection? Mm-hmm. Where it's I don't think this is a quantifiable feeling, but is it I love working with this person to be together and to grow and to kind of better each other. Mm-hmm. And I think grow is a very important word. I think that's where me and Keely are pretty unique in that we've been together through every major stage of life, pretty much. We've grown from seeing each other in high school, from Keely wanting to own an oil rig.
You're owning a Buc-ee's. I'm like, Keely, you can buy it. I don't know how you own a Buc-ee's, but I mean, best of luck. I mean,
best of luck to you.
To her wanting to go to law school.
To wanting to be a lawyer. To now being a wedding planner for herself. And she's seen me go through wanting to be a doctor, to not really knowing what I'm doing, to doing landscaping, to now going into planning and all of this I've done. So, but through that all, we've grown I don't want to say parallel and intertwined kind of, but it's not so much like we're tilting to
one side,
but it's kind of a willingness to grow up together, I guess. Mm-hmm. Of that, it's not always easy. There's been fights. There's been
that happens never.
But at the end of the day, it's always come back to there's no one else I would want by my side, and so that's the. I would say it's normal to have a doubt or what am I doing?
Yeah.
But at the end of every doubt, it always comes back to the same thing.
Yep.
It never just stays there in this am I making the right decision?
Yep.
To be with this person. So to me,
but you knew immediately Keely was the one, right?
Knew immediately.
Or kind of over time, though. Right?
Over time, I would say it turned into very much there's no one else. And I think before we got engaged, a couple of years probably before that, knew then that it was this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I think before that I don't know. Keely said she knew that the first time we met.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just this evolution of we both are enjoying each other. We're both spending time together.
Yeah.
All of this, and it's heading in an upward trend. And then it kind of started to become to that now you're thinking forward. Because at 16, I wasn't really thinking okay, I'm going to get married. I was thinking girlfriend.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Great.
Yeah, it's growing Keely. Yeah,
cool.
It's cool. Go watch Steph Curry now.
Yeah.
Watch Steph Curry now.
Yeah, there you go. It's that. But I don't know. Then you got into the later years of early 20s, and it was kind of okay, I don't know, solid vision, clear of like,
yeah.
Okay, now this is like a practical thing that I would do.
Yeah.
At 18, I still don't even think I was really an adult, so I didn't really consider that like like a plausible thing.
Yeah, like
to go do. But so I basically, in short, to summarize all of those words, I think it's important. One, you grow individually and together. You're both always constantly advancing. You want the absolute best for them, and they want the absolute best for you, whatever that vision is.
Yeah.
You full-heartedly believe in them. Two, communication through hard times. It's never easy. It's never easy to disagree. Yeah. But you're going to disagree.
Yeah.
So if you can't end the day laughing about it, I don't know. Yeah. That's a tough one. We've fought, and at the end of the time normally end up making fun of each other.
Yeah. Well.
So I think that's part of it. Also just basic communication I think is important. But that should develop that outside your own time.
Yeah, well,
you should have communication skills, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, that's my job, but like personable.
Then third, I think it's thirdly, and the most untangible one, is just the feeling of that, like, when you're waking up, is that the person you're kind of thinking of like, man, I wish they were here with me at this moment, or I really am seeing like raising kids with them, like they're really aligning on how we want to kind of work through this life. And that's like, I'll tell you, that's the love feeling.
Yeah.
That's just, but that's the hardest one to figure out, really. Because it's, I don't know. You date people and you like them and you have a fun time and whatever, but does it really align to, I have an unconditional love for this person throughout the rest of the time? And I don't know. I think that just, you know it when you know it, which is a sucky answer.
Yeah, well,
but that kind of
there, man.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's the one you clip up and go on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I think those three things would be like what I would say of what I would look for if I was like trying to figure out how to progress to a very serious relationship. I would say serious relationship, because I don't think you should go into it being like this. I don't know. I think it'd be very hard to go through a relationship trying to force it.
Yeah. You don't. Well, that's the thing. I don't think you don't force anything. Yeah. Forcing anything. Forcing something that just ruins it, anyways.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Shoot. Live your life, and it'll happen.
It'll either succeed or fail.
It'll succeed or fail, and I would say over time, no matter what you plan out, probably will figure it out in some weird way, because that's just how it goes.
Literally, we're all learning this whole thing.
Hey, that's the weirdest thing. It's like, it's my first rodeo.
No. And for our parents, that was our first or second. Well, for me, it was a second. For one of them, it was a second rodeo.
Yeah, but 2 rodeos.
Two rodeos is crazy, man.
That's still a low amount of rodeos.
Yeah. No. Well, unless you're like one of those people who are like 5 rodeos, are like, oh man, that's a whole a whole livestock show at that point too.
That's a good number.
That's a good number.
That's a fair number. Yeah, but 2 rodeos. That's a low amount of rodeos compared to what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. I don't know, it'll be interesting. Parenting's going to be an interesting thing. I don't know. Life is just an ever-evolving process. But yeah, I do. One's going to find you. It's going to happen.
Yeah, Keely gave me that advice too. I'm like, Keely, when is it going to happen?
You can't.
But Keely keeps telling me I'm going to meet somebody and get married quick. I'm like, come on. Really?
She tells everybody that.
Yeah.
I think she just wants that to happen so she can say it.
I already told her she was planning the wedding. I'm like, well, it might not happen for a couple of years, but
you'll be there.
No. You'll be there, all right. Yeah. Just it won't be soon, I don't think.
Keely's just waiting to drop the Poly Market line to be like, got married within a week.
Oh God, she thinks I make it. She said I would get married in a week. I'm like, there's no way that's happening.
That's why I keep telling her. I'm like, you gotta stop giving people advice.
You're gonna blow people. You're gonna make people like get divorced.
You're killing these expectations.
It's great for your business. It's just bad for. It's great for the divorce lawyer.
That's what
it's not great for the couple.
Should have been a divorce lawyer. Yeah, it would have been Because it's on both ends of the deal.
You should plan your wedding and plan your divorce.
Yeah, so if this doesn't work out, I have another business.
It's a weekend business, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that might be a good place to stop it.
Good place to stop it.
Yeah.
Or
Good place. Well,
just
I
name NBA
appreciate
players.
Dude, do we cheers to start this?
No, we did not.
All right. Well, we'll cheers
All
to
right.
end it then.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Good time.
Appreciate you being on.
Of course.
Thank you. And we'll call it on that one.